Hello, 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 hello. We should be live. All right, double check if you guys can hear me. Just having a few technical issues, and that's why the stream started a minute or two late. And yeah, hello, hello, folks. Hello, hello. We're about an hour away from the start of the race. You guys can hear me, which is brilliant. Okay. Yeah. It's just yeah. Let's get a few more things going. Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks, from wherever you are around the world. We are 1 hour away from the start of the Japanese Grand Prix. We will have the drivers come out onto the circuit for their reconnaissance laps in about 20 minutes or so, 20 minutes. They'll come out, start doing some laps of the circuit to make their way towards the grid and get a feel for the conditions here in Japan. All right, so what an exciting quali session we had yesterday. There was so much up in the air. We didn't know who was going to get pole position. In the end, of course, it did become a Mercedes 1-2, which is not ideally what we would have hoped for. We would have hoped for something a little bit closer. But, Piastri was there within half a tenth of George Russell, which is pretty good. Charles Leclerc there in fourth position. He he was 6 tenths back. His lap wasn't perfect, to be honest. He did have a bit of a drift coming out of Spoon Curve, but even if he hadn't had that drift, I think maybe he could have got Piastri's position, but probably not George's. Even getting Piastri's was a bit of a stretch. So we'll see how they perform in the race, but I have got a few graphics to talk about, a few things to talk about, so let's just jump right in. We've got firstly the race strategy. It seems like it's going to be a one-stop today. It normally is around Suzuka, so it's going to be start the race on the medium tyres, then go on to the hards, or start the race on the softs and then go on to the hards, and it will be pit between lap number 15 to 21 if you're a start on the mediums, and then pit between lap number 13 to 19 if you are on the softs. Okay, hello. What is my podium prediction? Oh, that is, I don't know. It's, what did I say yesterday? I think yesterday I said there was going to be one Mercedes, one McLaren, one Ferrari. I think that's what I said would be on the podium, so I guess I'm just going to stick with that. No, did not start so far. Yeah, no one has just DNF'd from the race already, but we'll wait and see. We shall wait and see if that will hold true in 55 minutes' time, because we have seen quite often that someone gets problems before the start of the race. Okay, so that is the race strategy. Then the other thing is the amount of time you lose by pitting under green flag and red flag yellow flag conditions. And you lose 22, nearly 23 seconds by pitting under green flag conditions, and only 10.5 seconds by pitting under safety car or virtual safety car conditions. So you're gaining about 13 seconds, 12 seconds worth of lap time by pitting under the safety car, which is, quite beneficial. Ferrari definitely learnt their lesson, I'm sure, from Australia, so we'll see if they repeat the same mistake again, or if it will be, hopefully they learn their lesson. Yeah, okay, let's pop the subscriber target to 240k. Let's see if we can hit 240k in this stream. And now the big news, really. The drivers are not happy. So this is Fernando Alonso here. I'd also like you guys to sort of remember back to pre-season testing. Fernando Alonso did say that, the cars are driving so slowly today, the chef from our motorhome can drive the car, it's so easy. And, he's continued on with that. He said maybe 50% of the team members can drive in Suzuka now, I think. High-speed corners are charging stations for the car, so driver skill is not really needed anymore. You just need to back off the throttle and turn down the battery and you charge the thing. So that is what Alonso says qualifying feels like around Suzuka, which is very, very strong words to say the least. But I also think they have got an element of truth to them, and that is why, that's why Fernando Alonso has made similar statements, and we've got Lando Norris with similar statements, and also a couple of the other drivers, which I will get into shortly. Let me read what is chat saying. Hadjar is outperforming Max, says Joshua Beard. Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but Hadjar did do a good job yesterday. They definitely need to fix things about quality at least. Yeah, like, look, the racing you can still call artificial if you want, and I would also, go on and probably agree with you by saying it's pretty artificial, but the qualifying, I honestly think, is terrible. They had Kimi Antonelli, his on board during quali, like, he got pole position, right, but he was super clipping through 130R. 130R, one of the most incredible corners in Formula 1, and, well, he was just super clipping through it, just slowing down. Like, it was not really the Formula 1 driving on the limit, the driving on the very ragged edge type of qualifying lap. It was sort of just drive around, let the car drive for you, sort of, and and call it a day, really. So that was quite the strange one, but it is what it is, and hopefully the FIA do change something. Frankie, morning Larry, I slept through quali, I had 3 alarms set. Well, there you go. It is definitely alright, and sometimes you get tired by sleeping in, waking up early for all of the other sessions, so. Will they bring back the MGU-H? No, I don't think so. The MGU-H was a pretty cool piece of technology, but it was pretty expensive, and none of the new engine manufacturers, so Audi, don't want to manufacture it like that. They joined on the condition that there would not be an MGU-H in Formula 1, and Cadillac, when they joined as well, they also, right now they're using Ferrari's engines, but they intend to use their own engines, and they also joined with the hope of not having an MGU-H, so yeah, they're not going to go back on those regulations. Okay. So, that is Fernando Alonso's quote, but we've got very, very, very similar stuff from Charles Leclerc, which is, driving on the limit no longer pays off. That's very frustrating. It's one big joke. And, look, the where that sentiment is actually coming from, we've got the data that'll be loading in about 20 seconds, folks, so yeah, we'll have the data coming up onto the screen shortly. Oh, brilliant. Okay. Yeah, so that's the race data. What was I going to say? Oh yes, Charles Leclerc, driving on the limit. So, Charles Leclerc has on a few occasions now driven on the limit of the car, right? This is what we want in quali. We want the drivers pushing as far as the car will go and trying to get onto the power as early as possible. Maybe getting a little bit of oversteer, correcting the oversteer, then continuing on and pushing, right? And some of the great quali laps that we remember. So, Max Verstappen in 2021 in Saudi Arabia, and we've got Lewis Hamilton 2018 Singapore. We've got, in fact, Charles Leclerc 2019 Singapore, and a lot of these super amazing quali laps that we remember, right? There has been an occasion where the driver gets a little bit of oversteer because they are on the limit, and then they have to back off the throttle ever so slightly and then recorrect the trajectory of the car. And in these new regulations, the way the battery system is set up is if they have to correct a bit of oversteer, then the whole battery deployment over the course of the lap gets messed up, because the rules essentially say that, after you're at 100% throttle on the exit of a corner, then you've got to hold your power at 200 kilowatts, and then after 1 full second, then you can slowly start reducing the amount of power the battery is using. But if you get oversteer, for example, you're exiting a corner and you reach 100% throttle, but then the rear of the car steps out, and then you have to lift off the throttle and then get back onto the throttle. After you get back onto the throttle, then you've got to redeploy, then your battery has to stay at 200 kilowatts, and then it reduces down a little bit, the power reduces down a little bit later on, which frankly, I don't even want to be explaining this rules to you guys. Like, it's frankly stupid, but essentially what it's saying is that after you lift off the throttle a little bit to correct your oversteer and then get back onto the throttle, you cannot immediately cut power to the battery, because the rules say that you have to be outputting at least 200 horsepower and then you can reduce it. And for that reason, right, what happens is over the course of your qualifying lap here, there are certain regions where you want to be deploying battery and there's certain regions where you don't want to be deploying battery. So now I'm going to take one corner for an example. Okay, so I'm going to take turn number 9 as an example here. So on the exit of turn number 9, it does not make sense to deploy your battery, because you've only got a very, very small straight section before you then go into another corner. So it makes a lot of sense to just not deploy your battery and save it for the following straight here on the exit of turn number 14. But the rules dictate that you have to be outputting at least a little bit of battery power on the exit of turn number 9. So let's say that you have to output at least 200 horsepower, something along those lines, right, on the exit turn number 9. And at 1 second after you exit the corner, you can then cut the power and, you can save your battery for the rest of the lap. Now, let's imagine you're driving through turn number 9 and you get a little bit of oversteer. Then what happens is you back off the throttle, then go back onto the throttle, and when you go back onto the throttle, the deployment map thinks that you've just exited the corner, whereas, you exited the corner about, 1 second ago, half a second ago, and that means that you continue on deploying battery when you shouldn't be deploying battery, and the deployment map gets either a little bit confused about where it is on the racetrack, and it deploys more battery than it should, and then basically you don't have enough battery saved up for the back straight and you lose out on your quali lap. And this has happened to Charles in quali in China. I think it's also happened to Lewis Hamilton as well in China, and I think it also happened to Lewis Hamilton this weekend here in Japan. And the same thing can be said for Charles Leclerc. Leclerc to a slightly lesser extent this weekend, but essentially the reason that they do it is because theoretically you could use the electric motor as a bit of a traction control device on the exit of corners, because depending on the way you set up the electric motor, you can definitely use it as traction control, which the teams do not want you to do, which the Formula 1 does not want the team to do, to use sort of traction control or a traction control like effect from the electric motor. But yeah, honestly, I just want to stop talking about this because it's not very fun to talk about, and it's also a bit confusing as well. However, Lando Norris has also said the exact same thing. It hurts your soul seeing the speed drop so much, 56 kilometers per hour down the straight. And, well, I think it hurts the souls of a lot of Formula One fans, to be honest, with how things are going. This is the race pace simulation. You can see that Mercedes, again, are the quickest, which is to be expected. But McLaren and Ferrari are right there in terms of how close they are to the Mercedes team. And, about 2/10 back per lap, apparently. However, of course, if you are in Charles Leclerc's positions, you're probably going to get P1 by the end of lap 1, and then you can defend from the front, and we'll see how that goes for him, because we do know that it is difficult to overtake around here in Suzuka. So if, Charles Leclerc can, well, essentially get into the lead of the race and then hold off Antonelli, then things could go pretty well for him. But we'll wait and see what happens there at the start of the race. What website is this for timing? This is Multiviewer. It is not, a website. It's a program that you got to download, and you've got to have access to F1 TV and things like that. But yeah. What is the VPN site to look up? It is Service TV, folks. Service TV is the website you want to connect to. I will just pop it up on the screen. There you go. So that's the website that you want to connect to. Yeah. Okay. The race strategy, again, as I said a little bit earlier on, it is going to be a one-stop race. Very, very unlikely that we're going to have anything different to that, unless there are a huge amount of safety cars. Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone for tuning in. By the way, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It goes a long way to helping out the channel and the algorithm. We've got 2,200 people watching, which is much, much appreciated. Bro, be honest, do you feel as excited for a race like it was before the new regulations? I mean, like, I don't know. It's a tough one, really, because towards the end of last season, I was just excited because of the championship battle, right? I didn't know if the racing itself was going to be good, but I just knew that we were going to have a championship battle. So for that reason, I would be excited for the race. But to be honest, we've had some good battles in China. We've had some good battles in Australia. So, the start of the race, I think, has been delayed by 10 minutes. Why or is that just incorrect information? What's going on here? I think that it's just come through that the formation lap will start at 10 minutes past 2, which I think means that the race has been delayed for 10 minutes. They're checking the barrier, fair enough. Okay, well, I guess I'll increase the, I'll change the countdown timer soon enough. Will any of the McLarens actually start the race because the current pattern isn't working for them? Well, look, I can tell you one thing. Lando Norris is already on his third battery of the season, folks. Third battery of the season. You're only allowed 3. If Lando Norris has to take another battery, he will then have to start taking grid penalties for taking batteries, which is quite surprising, really. We're here at the third race of the season, and Lando Norris is already on his third battery. So, yeah, some pretty big issues down there at McLaren. That I think what's happened is that there have been software glitches which have affected the battery's long-term health and essentially damaged it already. They've realised that they're not going to be able to fix it, and yeah, now they've put in a new battery on Lando Norris's car. I don't think Oscar Piastri has been suffering from the exact same issues, but he has had some battery problems, and hopefully he can start today's race, because he hasn't actually done a race either in Australia or in China. 0 laps completed so far. Should try Duracell. Yeah, exactly. Should try Duracell, shouldn't they? Why don't they just get a few AA batteries and stick those in the car? I think that would be optimal way to design for these new regulations. Okay. Yeah, it's like your iPhone battery when it's at like what, 5%. When it goes from 5% to 1%, it does that so quickly. But then when it goes from 100% to 95%, it takes absolutely ages to do that. I mean, it is I don't know, honestly, it is quite strange. Will they implement a rule where the driver's private jets will need to lift and coast for half the flight? Um, I don't know. I don't think planes lifting and coasting is the best way to fly the planes. What's the stream? Also, your audio is slightly delayed, and I have OCD, and it's not a good match. Is my audio slightly delayed? It's been the exact same audio that I've been using for. It must have been ever since I did my face reveal, so I haven't really changed much. Yeah. It's not delayed. Okay, fair enough. I don't know. Excited about watching another Mercedes 1-2 and a Ferrari third. Well, look, if we get another situation where Charles Leclerc is battling away for half the race, and then it becomes a Mercedes 1-2 and Charles Leclerc third, I wouldn't be too annoyed about that. So some guys agreeing that the driver should focus on managing their tyres and manage that BS, but battery management is... Yeah, okay, I see what you mean, right? I see what you mean, because, look, in motorsport, it is not just maximum attack every single lap, especially in races, right? Where the drivers are managing their tyres, they're managing their brake temperature, they're managing their tyre temperature, they are managing how much fuel that they're using, and what's to say that this isn't just another type of management? They're just doing more managing over the course of a lap, which I partially understand, right? Partially understand, but when the drivers are doing tyre management or when they're doing fuel management, it's always over the course of multiple laps, and it's always, they're going to do a tiny little lift here to make sure that they can make it to the end of the race, or they're going to do a little bit of lifting and coasting through this corner to make sure that their tyres can last, the next 15 laps or something like that. But the amount of speed that they lose for this management purpose is relatively minimal, right? Like, you'll see some drivers lifting and coasting into some corners, and that's about it if you're looking at tyre management or if you're looking at fuel management. But then when you've got the drivers going full throttle and they lose 50 kilometers per hour, I think that's a different sort of realm where you go into, because there is the driver controlled management, which is picked via team strategy, and the driver communicating to their engineer saying, I think I'll be able to pull off 20 laps on these set of tyres if I do a little bit of tyre management. But this management that we are getting is controlled by the computer, controlled by the algorithm that the engineers have set up, that the coders have set up, and it is resulting in huge speed drops that the driver cannot control. And I think that is why a lot of people are much more frustrated about this type of management compared to tyre management or fuel management. So that's my sort of take on it, and I still don't think that we should really be doing it. If, the management was to be down to the drivers, then at least let the drivers press a button on the steering wheel to say recharge here, deploy here. But if it's all just controlled by the computer, then well, it just we get this sort of things where every single lap on the onboard, folks, what you see is if you are watching the broadcast, you will never see the onboard of a car going through 130R because they just cut the broadcast. They cut to a different camera, they cut to a different audio feed because they do not want to show you the car's super clipping through 130R. It's sort of wild, really. Yeah. Okay. Hi friend, I really enjoy the streams, the commentary. Watching the detailed lap stats is more enjoyable than the telecast. Hopes this brings future endeavours. Peace. Thank you very much, John James. Thanks for the nice comment. We are 30 minutes away from the start of the race. We're going to have 53 laps here in Suzuka. Most of the drivers will be pitting around lap number 20 or so for their first pit stop. So 20 laps on the first stint, 30 laps on the second stint approximately. And, well, we'll see who can make it to the end of the race. Are we going to get loads of DNFs? Or are we going to have drivers not even starting the race? Let's wait and see. There is a 10-minute delay to the start of the race. They are repairing some of the barriers. I think there was a crash in Porsche Super Cup, which was quite the big crash, and for that reason they have they're just checking the barriers, making sure everything's fine, and then they were going to go out racing. Okay. Oh, also, let me pop YouTube chat up on screen, actually. I probably should have done that a while ago. Can we appreciate how good Alpine and Gasly are? Yeah, you've got to say, Gasly's been doing a brilliant job. Colapinto, not so much, but Gasly's there, always delivering. 7th position for him yesterday in quali. Best of the rest, if you want to put it that way. And quicker than Isaac Hadjar as well. So, solid job there from Pierre Gasly. And good for him, really. We'll see how much Alpine can continue on improving. Please, Oscar, start this race. I really hoped for Oscar's sake that you can start the race. That would be very, very nice. Yeah. Who's my favourite? My favourite is Sebastian Vettel, but he's unfortunately not driving. So, yeah. Yeah, otherwise, maybe I'll support the Williams team, but Williams also aren't doing so well. 16th and 17th position for them. Okay. What's good, Larry? I just woke up. Well, I think most things are pretty good, to be fair. I don't really know what to say to that. But I hope you guys have had a nice week so far. If this is the first stream that you're tuning in for, good to have you here. It is interesting as well. A lot of people here are a bit disappointed in these regulations, a bit disappointed in the way that Formula One is going and things like that. And it's interesting that from the numbers from last year, right? I can see how many views that I got last year. I can see how many people were watching the live streams last year. For Japan, we are, the channel is getting approximately half the views that it was last year in 2025. And, at the start of the season, there wasn't really a championship battle. Like, we knew maybe there was going to be something happening between Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, but there was no sort of real championship fight. But still, in 2025, we were getting double the number of people that were watching qualifying compared to qualifying yesterday. So, yeah, I think, the numbers don't really lie, and a lot of people have just sort of stopped watching because they are not particularly interesting. I mean, half the cars don't really even finish the race, so, maybe that's why, but who knows. If Russell gets beaten by his teammate, expect excuses. Yeah, I mean, you always can hear excuses from racing drivers, right? We had excuses from Max Verstappen that was the setup was wrong and this was wrong and that was wrong, which, very much could be true, but also very much could not be true, right? He could have set a bad lap, and we will never know if it was a bad lap from his side or if it was a mistake from the setup side. But either way, every single driver complains. They're all experts at whinging and crying to the FIA that, this driver did that and this driver did this. But, that's just sort of how Formula One goes. We have got yeah, the drivers just driving around now. They're doing their reconnaissance laps, gathering their information before the start of the race, and they'll be finding themselves lining up on the grid soon enough. F1 Gamer, will you be sad to miss Jeddah and Bahrain? Would have been interesting to see. Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting to see. But, you know, we do have 22 races still in the year without Bahrain and Jeddah. So it's not exactly the end of the world. For George, Toto apologised. It was a really bad setup. And, you know, fair enough. Like, if it was a bad setup, George Russell still did a mega job getting that car to work. But he's going to have to deal with that terrible setup for the race today as well. So it's going to be an interesting one to see if how he's going to cope and how he's going to hold up there. Oh yeah, let me adjust the race timings. The race has been delayed by 10 minutes, folks. Just to confirm, there was a crash in the Porsche Racing Series just before the Formula One happened, and they have to repair the barriers and just check everything's all right. Also, it seems like we are going to be getting quite a lot of data glitching today, which is not something that I very much like to say, but the data has been glitching out for a lot of the teams, and we've had Lando, you know, the drivers essentially just lose telemetry halfway through their lap around the circuit. We had Kimi Antonelli lose telemetry on his pole lap. We had multiple occasions, I think, of the Williams team also losing telemetry, so it's not ideal. F1 26 about to be mid. F1 is 1-to-1 like the games. Yeah, it's not so great, is it? What I am going to do is I'm going to try and give the data a full reset, see if that helps, but I'll do that close to the start of the race. Right now we're still 40 minutes out. F1 Gamer, what changes exactly when the team say setup changes? Well, look, right, the setup changes, you've got so many different options to change in terms of settings on a Formula One car. There are an infinite number of combinations of settings and this and that you could do to make the cars quicker, but the big ones are your suspension settings and your front wing angle and rear wing angle, and essentially George Russell, I think what he had was not enough rear stability in the car, and once you get into qualifying, the only thing that you can change is the differential settings and your front wing angle. So those are the two things that you can change once you're in quali, and at that point it was not enough for George Russell to increase his rear wing angle, because of course that's not allowed in quali. So then what they had to do was decrease the front wing angle to compensate, but then George Russell was getting understeer through the corners. At least that's what I heard, and yeah, that's why he was overall just a whole lot slower than Kimi Antonelli. But he's going to have to deal with those same problems in the race today, right? He's going to get a bit of understeer. He's not going to have as much grip as he would like. He will then probably also get a little bit more tyre wear because he hasn't got as much downforce on the car. So there are a few issues he'll have to deal with, but, you know, so will every single driver. F1 Gamer, do you think Ferrari will get their great usual start and get past the McLarens? I think they will. I mean, there's a few things to note here, right, in Suzuka. On the lap of the race, I should probably sit with at least a little bit of good posture, but, okay, so what we do have here is the drivers on the left-hand side of the grid, so the drivers with odd numbers, being Antonelli, Piastri, Norris. They are starting on the left-hand side of the grid, which is the clean side of the grid. Then we have got the drivers with even numbers, so Russell, Leclerc, Hamilton, those drivers who are starting on the right-hand side of the grid, they will have the dirty side of the grid. So that's going to give them a little bit less grip off the race start, but that will be totally overshadowed by the fact that the Ferrari cars are absolute rocket ship off the line, and they will still probably beat the Mercedes and the McLarens to turn number one. You've also got to look at the width of the circuit, right? There's no good being super fast off the line. You still have to have the width of the circuit to actually make the overtake. And here at Suzuka, after the start-finish line actually happens, the track gets pretty wide. You've also got the pit lane exit, which will be available for the drivers to drive through. So only when you get towards the apex itself of turn number 1 is when you can go 2 wide. Before that, you can go 3 wide and you can get your overtakes done. So there's definitely space for the drivers to pull off the overtakes, but we'll see how it goes. Right, it does seem like the data is glitching about quite heavily actually. Hopefully that can hopefully if I mess around with the numbers and I can get that resolved, but we'll just have to wait and see. Also folks, if you haven't hit the like button, then be sure to do so. Very much would be appreciated. Yeah, it is not ideal. Actually, folks, I think I might be able to. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try do a refresh here of the entire data system. So the screen will probably go blank for a little bit, and then we'll get the rest of the footage coming back up onto the screen. But I will just. We'll just have to deal with it. And anyway, we're half an hour away from the start of the race, so there's not much important numbers that are on the screen right now. Okay. Here we go. Right. Hopefully. Oh, there we go. We've got everything refreshing. Okay, give me a sec here, folks. Japanese Grand Prix. Okay, and we've got this over here. Okay. Things should get a little bit better. Let's wait and see though. Well, clearly not. Clearly the stuff still just wants to glitch her out. Brilliant. Okie dokes. F1 Gamer, have you ever done a fantasy league for Formula 1? I did one last year, but I also didn't really play it that much. I set it up for the first 2 races of the season and that was about it. So yeah, that's my extent of playing Formula 1 fantasy. At least the cars are still running in the same direction. Yeah, at least that's happening. Did they delay the race? Yes, the race has been delayed 10 minutes, so I've updated my timer. The race would be starting in 20 minutes time, but it's now starting in 30 minutes time because of the delayed race start. Okay, I still don't know what is going on here. Hopefully. No, we're still getting more glitching. Right, I'm going to see if I can try and fix this because it's just going to be a whole mess in the race if we've still got this glitching data, which is definitely not what we want. So, okay, let's see. No, it's still glitching. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I think it's partially glitching because the data source itself in Japan, a lot of the teams have been having issues with the GPS. Like Kimi Antonelli's GPS data just cut halfway through qualifying. In fact, not halfway through. It cut 3 times in qualifying. Kimi Antonelli's telemetry data, which was very, very surprising. Like, how does that even happen? That they have the data cut during quali, but it's still, you've got to give them the benefit of doubt. It's still a relatively complex system that you've got to get to work there. You're literally the best place to watch Formula 1 for free. I think I'm going to add you to my thank you speech at my graduation. Well, thank you very much there, buddy. The telemetry cutting is at least called super duper clipping. Yeah. And I'm also not going to be able to figure out if the data is now working or not because the drivers are all lined up on the grid, which is slightly problematic to say the least. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is again close all of the screens and hopefully get the data working. So the screens, you're just going to get shown my wallpaper, which is this, I don't know, this is forest at twilight or something, and I'm going to see if I can get the data going. This time working, however. That'd be nice. Right. Of this, and let's put this here. Right, well, there's not much further that I can really do at this point, so we'll just sort of have to see how it goes. What I'm also going to do is take you through a flying lap of the race. So let's get rid of YouTube chat. Let's move this over here. And flying lap of the circuit. So here you are coming through the final corner here. You open up straight mode, right, so you could get a bit of top speed down the straight, and you're heading in towards turn number 1, 300 kilometers per hour, 310 maybe, and off the throttle onto the brakes. And now through sector number 1, you really just want to be carrying the speed, carrying the momentum. I was looking at the onboard bit. Actually, not the onboard, the telemetry of Fernando Alonso versus Lance Stroll. And Fernando Alonso was applying a whole lot less throttle than Stroll was, but because his steering inputs were so much smoother, his minimum speeds were still higher than Stroll's. So going through the first sector, Alonso was not squeezing down the throttle the entire way, only squeezing down the throttle a little bit, compared to Stroll, who was going, full throttle a lot of the time. But because Alonso was super smooth with his steering, then he didn't actually lose out that much in terms of time through Sector 1. In fact, he was quicker than Stroll through Sector 1, even though he was at 100% throttle less of the time than Stroll was. So Sector 1, it's a lot about carrying the speed through the S's and just keeping the minimum speed up, essentially. Then you've got Degner 1 and 2, so let's just, this is Dunlop curve here, and now you go towards Degner 1, where if you do touch the grass on the left-hand side, there's no curb here, right? So you've just got the painted white line and then the grass, so you've got to be pretty careful not to touch the grass there, and if you do, you go off into the gravel trap because you have no grip. Degner 2, you've got a lot of camber there to help you around that corner, so it's best to just, use the camber, so make sure you hit that apex to help to get the camber to go around. And then on the exit corner, you don't want to get any oversteer because the oversteer messes up the battery deployment system. So it just be super smooth on throttle. Don't get oversteer, because if you do, you not only get penalized for the oversteer, you also get penalized later out throughout the lap because your battery is deploying at the wrong point. Then through the hairpin you go. Take a slightly wider line to reduce your tire wear. It's what most of the drivers will be doing during the race. And then towards spoon curve, you're just hugging the inside line, really trying to minimize the distance that you travel. Tap the brakes, flick the car in for spoon curve. The other thing here, going through spoon, is the drivers are downshifting very, very early to charge up the battery, but that also unsettles the car. So we've seen a lot of drivers go off at spoon in practice sessions. We didn't see any much in quali, but we could still see some more drivers having issues during the race. Then you go through the second part of the spoon curve onto the throttle, and then you're going down the straight. You got straight mode activated here, and you're climbing up the gears, the speeds. And at this point, you start super clipping. You start going slower and slower and slower. You go through 130R. At this point, now you downshift because your car is super clipping so much, and then you get onto the brakes for turns number 16 and 17, and then come across the line really. And that is. That's a lap of Suzuka, folks. Yeah. Okay. Service TV stream seems not to be working for me. Gonna have to put up with Switzerland, Dutch, Swiss German. Fair enough on SRF. Okie dokes. Also, folks, if you have any other like button, please be sure to do so. It goes a long way to helping out the channel and keeping the algorithm going and things like that. So hopefully we can make our way towards 1,000 likes before the race gets underway. The Belgian still works perfectly for me. Fair enough. What is the Belgian one called? RTBF or something? Yeah. Why do I start the stream so early? I don't know. It's nice to talk about Formula One for a little bit, and it's also good for the algorithm. So yeah. I think that's about that. Are there any did not starts? No, not that we have heard of at least. If there were going to be did not starts, they would move on the screen right now. So right now it says that we've just got dashes here, but it would probably say in pit if someone is driven back to the pit lane or been pushed back to the pits. So yeah, there you go. If suddenly something pops up on the screen saying in pit lane, that you can probably assume that they're not starting the race. Is super clipping done by the software or the drivers do it manually? It's done by the software. So that's another of the reason why so many people hate it. Is it's not that the driver is controlling it, it's the people back at the factory that wrote a little bit of code to work out the optimal place to deploy battery or not. And I was writing some code actually to just try and simulate what the drivers are doing and what the engineers have done back at the factory to see where would be the optimal places to deploy battery. And I might make a little bit of a video about it. I'm not 100% sure. Free account Belgian VPN. Fair enough. What is the website for the Belgian VPN? I cannot remember the name, but to watch it using the Austrian VPN, it is Service TV, folks. Service TV. So if you have Proton VPN using the link in the description for the $1 a month, then you can watch the coverage that way. Piastri starting a race in the big 2026. Yeah, we'll see if Piastri starts. I really hope he does, and we'll see. What he's like off the line as well. We know the Mercedes themselves have had quite a few issues off the start-finish line, and their tyres aren't properly warmed up, and they get wheel spin off the line and such and such. And Antonelli specifically has been having quite a lot of issues at the race start. So we will see if the McLaren team also have the same thing, right? Because they've got the same power unit, or is the McLaren team doing something slightly different to stop that from happening? What happened to Piastri in the first two races? In the first race in Australia, on the lap to the grid, so when they come out the pit lane and then they drive around the circuit for a little bit and then park up in their grid position. So this is before the formation lap. This is just at the start of the day. The battery started deploying an extra 100 horsepower, 150 horsepower when it shouldn't have been deploying horsepower, and Oscar Piastri basically just got on the throttle, and the battery suddenly dumped an extra 100 horsepower into the wheels, and he spun, and he crashed because of that. And then in China, he had some technical glitches with the car, again something related with the battery, and he crashed. So, yeah. Larry, the race is in 10 minutes. Not. Oh no, the race has been delayed for anyone that didn't know. The race was delayed by 10 minutes because there was a big crash in the Porsche racing that was happening at Suzuka a few hours ago. And as far as I know from race control, we haven't got any further update. Yeah, they've still got the pit lane exits closed, and the race start has been delayed. What do I think about Max kicking a journalist at the interview? I think Max honestly just needs to grow up a little bit. Like, it's the journalists will ask you difficult questions after you do something stupid, like crash into George Russell on purpose, which, he did crash into George Russell on purpose, so he should, face the consequences at least of being asked some difficult questions. If he isn't going to get disqualified from a race, or if he isn't going to get a penalty for it, just answer the question, man. Like, it's not that hard. And if you don't want to answer the question properly, then you don't have to answer the question properly, but you don't have to kick the journalist out of the event. So, I mean, he's 28, bro, should be at least a little PR trained. Yeah, I mean, if anyone with the slightest bit of PR training or media training knows not to kick out a journalist. So, yeah, I don't know what Max was thinking, really. But we all have our moments. We all have that occasion where they go to where the drivers say something stupid to the press, and as long as he apologizes later and doesn't do it again, then I guess all is all right. But it just doesn't set the right tone. Crazy saying Max is only 28, feels like he's been around for longer. Lol. Yeah, I mean, he's only joined Formula One in when he was 16, right? So there you go. Did someone say dislike for that? Oh, okay. I said something about see, this is the thing, right? Like, sometimes I'll say something that people don't like, and then they end up disliking the stream. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. I'm sure there are more than enough people that are still liking the stream, so it's all right. 10-second penalty for Ocon. Clearly. Look, Max can still do something stupid, and then he can, still be the quickest driver on the grid, right? I'm not gonna say that Max is not the quickest driver on the grid, but you can do something stupid off the track. Is the race starting late? Indeed it is, and that is why the timer, it would be normally 6 minutes, and the race is going to start in 6 minutes, but the formation lap was delayed by 10 minutes because they were inspecting the barriers for damage and repairing them. The F1 broadcast is still putting celebs on instead of talking about Formula One. Yeah, it's well, at least we're not getting images of all of the drivers' girlfriends on the broadcast. Is all the data from F1 TV? Indeed it is. Also, folks, I'm just going to drop a link to the Twitch channel. If you guys do want to go over and watch on Twitch, then feel free to go and do so. I'll probably have a slightly better chance of replying to your message if you type it in on Twitch, but there you go. Yeah. Because Twitch chat is way slower. I mean, there's only... How many people are watching on Twitch? I think there's... Yeah, we've got 19 people watching on Twitch, so if you type in Twitch chat, probably a little bit better chance to reply. Senna versus Prost was the best rivalry. Yeah, actually, folks, I do want to ask you, so who do you think is the best what do you think was the best rivalry? Do you think it was Senna versus Prost, Mick Hakkinen versus Schumacher, Fernando Alonso versus Schumacher? What else have we had? We've had Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton. We've had Max Verstappen versus Lewis Hamilton. We've had I don't know. I can't remember any more right now, but I'm sure most of you haven't been around to watch Senna versus Prost, but what do you think? I think, especially in the most recent years, the 2021 was something special. Alonso versus Vettel was pretty good, actually. Yeah. Schumacher versus Hill was also quite the good one, quite the controversial one. I mean, Max versus Lewis is the reason why the channel is where it is today. If the 2021 season was not as exciting as it was, then the channel would not have gone from 1,000 to 20,000 subscribers. And if it hadn't got to 20,000 subscribers, I don't know how much longer I really would have carried on doing it. So, yeah, got a few people here in Twitch. My favourite rivalry is the Red Bull second driver versus the Red Bull car, and that rivalry has been going on for quite a while, hasn't it? We've had in 2019 we had Gasly and Albon be the second driver here in Red Bull. Then we had Sergio Perez. Then we had Yuki Tsunoda. It's been quite the surprise, and now clearly Max Verstappen is the number 2 driver at Red Bull because Hadjar's been doing better than him recently. Again, folks, I'd like to clarify that is a joke. Max Verstappen obviously is the number 1 driver, but yeah, as of late, Hadjar's been doing pretty well. Lauda versus Hunt, of course. Yeah, Lauda versus Hunt. How could I forget that one? Why does the race start in 13 minutes? Because there was a 10-minute delay to the start of the race. Okay, I'm going to pop a few important things on the screen. So quickly, I will run through the info here. So we've got, these are our expected race strategies. Start the race on the mediums, then go on to the hards, or start the race on the softs, then go on to the hards. Those are the 2 main race strategies. You could see someone do softs to mediums, but track temperature is 36 degrees Celsius, which means it's quite hot, and I don't think anyone will be doing softs to mediums. It's a bit too much of a risky strategy. Strategy number 4 is totally irrelevant, and nobody's really going to do it unless there are 2 safety cars at that exact period, which if there are, then sure, but otherwise I don't think anyone really is going to be doing strategy 4. It just costs too much, and you're not going to get the overtakes in, especially here at Suzuka. And strategy 5 is the alternate strategy. You start the race on the harder compound and then switch on to the softer ones later on. Okay. Are you half British or full British? Well, I was born in India, so I guess Indian, really. Do you think that Red Bull will develop more of a balanced vehicle between 2 drivers, or push mainly for Max's preferences? I think that they will pick a bit more of a balanced car, to be honest. They suffered the consequences of having a car only designed around Max Verstappen last year and in the past few years, so I think they've learnt their lesson and they'll take both drivers' inputs. But it seems like Hadjar's also a little bit better at dealing with the sort of difficult driving style that Max Verstappen has. The other thing I want to go through, the drivers lose 23 seconds coming into the pit lane when under green flag conditions, and 11 seconds under virtual safety car or safety car conditions. So those are things there, and let me just pop that up on the screen as well. 23-second pit stop loss. Stop strategy. Okay. There we go. So that is that done, and then yeah, I mean, you can see Charles Leclerc yesterday. This is probably the most one. Driving on the limit does no longer pay off. It's very frustrating. One big joke. So yeah, I mean, it's not great, really. We've had this happen on quite a few occasions. The drivers get a little bit of oversteer. The battery deployment system gets confused. It doesn't know where it is on the racetrack. It deploys battery when it shouldn't deploy battery, and the drivers end up ruining their quali lap. So that's not ideal. Is the race start being delayed? Yes, folks. Well, it's already been delayed. The race, we would have had the formation lap 30 seconds ago if it hadn't been delayed. But the race will be getting underway in 9 minutes' time. There was a crash in the Porsche Cup. Good morning, Goat. Thank you very much for kind words. And yeah, good morning, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are around the world. We're going to have quite the exciting race. Yeah, the driver's okay in the Porsche Cup. It was quite a big crash, but the drivers are all good. Oh, my mic was muted. Apologies, folks. What I was saying was the left-hand side of the grid is the clean side of the grid, and the right-hand side of the grid is the dirty side of the grid. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So the left-hand side is where you're going to get a better race start. The right-hand side is where you're not getting a better race start. The microphone is super clipping. Brilliant. Yeah, apologies for that one. I think this is the first time that I've done that in quite a while, that I've forgot that I was muted. Yeah. So 10-second penalty for me, clearly. But yes, so the left-hand side is the clean side of the grid, right-hand side the dirty side, and you just want to take that into account. Of course, is your favourite driver starting on the left-hand side. So the drivers with the odd numbers, so Antonelli, Piastri, Norris, they're starting on the left-hand side. The drivers with even numbers, they're starting on the right side. How long is the race usually? Probably will take an hour and a half, depending on if there's safety cars and virtual safety cars and things like that. Okay. All right. Not long till we get underway for the start of this race. Can we watch a lap? Indeed you can. So here we go. We have got in towards turn number 1. You tap on the brakes ever so slightly, then flick the car in, and carry your speed. So this is what Alonso is doing, right? I'm going full throttle here. So I'm doing the Lance Stroll approach, which is not the ideal way. What you want to do: feather throttle ever so slightly, keep your average speed up, and be super smooth on the steering. That will firstly reduce your tyre wear. Secondly, reduce your battery deployment, and thirdly, also, make you quicker through the first sector. So that's what Fernando Alonso is doing through sector number 1, and that allowed him, because he wasn't going full throttle here, because the battery wasn't getting deployed here, what he would then do is on the back straight have way more battery deploy and get a much higher top speed than Stroll would. So we'll see a lot of the drivers do that, where they were only going on throttle ever so slightly through the first sector to sort of manage their battery. Then you go through Degner number 1 and 2. Degner 2, is quite tricky, but you have got enough AstroTurf there, a bit of runoff area, a bit of margin for error. Then you go into the hairpin. You want to brake in a straight line. It's quite tricky because you're turning and braking at the same time, but you can sort of separate it up. And now you head towards Spoon Curve, right? You are hugging the inside line there, trying to minimize the distance that you travel, and then towards Spoon Curve, tap on the brakes, flick the car to the left, and that is the first apex. Then the second apex, just get onto the power as early as you can. And just to clarify, I'll move the lap time, the screen off shortly, but everyone's on the medium tyres with the exception of Bottas. Bottas is on the hards. Okay, and then 130R, I mean, the drivers are going so slowly that, the chef in the back of the factory can still drive through 130R, and then you've got turn number 16 and 17, which is a bit tricky. You've got to be smooth on the throttle on the exit, and that's a lap of Suzuka. Okay. So there you go, folks, there you go. The driver's getting told over the radio, we're doing a formation lap toggle, we're doing the launch procedures and this and that, work the tyres, bring the temperature up, and the race is starting in 3 minutes. Well, the formation lap is starting in 3 minutes, yeah. Why was Kimi super clipping yesterday controversial? It was controversial because he was clipping through 130R, one of the most... not supposedly, it is one of the most spectacular corners in Formula 1, and Kimi Antonelli was reducing his car speed by 50 kilometers per hour going through there, so it was just a lot of fans were like, what is this, what's going on? Goober Critter, thanks for the nice message, folks. Okay, so here we go. Here we are at Suzuka. We have got a circuit that is 5.8 kilometers long. 53 laps of racing will be taking place here today. We are most likely going to have a one-stop strategy with the drivers pitting around lap number 20 for hard tyres. They're going to start on the mediums, of course, as you can see already on the screen. We have got the hardest tyre compounds available to them. We've got the C1s, the C2s, the C3s, the hardest ones from Pirelli, because it is quite the tough circuit here in Suzuka, and 20 laps in the first stint and 30 laps in the second stint. And we are seeing... the drivers are getting told where they're going to use boost, where they're not going to use boost, where they're going to do burnouts, what settings to use through what corners, and this should be interesting. But starting from the bottom of the grid, we've got the two Aston Martins, 21 and 22 for them. They are hoping to finish the race. They have got some changes to their car to hopefully reduce the vibrations, firstly for the drivers and secondly also for the battery and the engine. So their aim for today, finish the race. It's a pretty low target. Hopefully they can hit it. Then we've got the two Cadillacs, 18th and 19th. They've made a good start in Formula 1, but they're nowhere near the pace of the front. We'll see what they can do, though, in today's race. Behrman in 18th after a bad quali. Same thing for Albon in 17th. Sainz just made it through into Q2, but didn't manage to go any higher. 16th position for him. Franco Colapinto in 15th, while his teammate is up in 7th position. A lot of work to do for Franco Colapinto. Liam Lawson in 14th, while his rookie teammate up in 10th position. So Lawson also needs to be his teammate if he wants to stay relevant in Formula 1. Then we have got... Nico Hülkenberg in P13 in the Audi, not too shabby from him, but again getting out-qualified by his much less experienced teammate. Then we've got Ocon in 12th position, Verstappen in 11th with a shock Q2 elimination that nobody was really expecting, so a bit of a surprise there for Max Verstappen. And the setup of the car wasn't great, and it seems like he's going to be stuck with the same bad setup for today's race as well. He's not starting from the pit lane, so we'll see how he adapts to that one. Lindblad in 10th position, great quali from him, and honestly, that's a fantastic job. His rookie season in Formula 1, and he's got it through into Q3, so brilliant job there from Lindblad. Then we've got Bortoletto in 9th position in the Audi. The Audis are getting stronger and stronger. Reportedly, they've got an engine upgrade that's going to give them about a second of performance per lap. That is going to put them right on par with the McLarens if that is true. So we'll see how the Audis perform. We've got Isaac Hadjar in 8th position. Great job from him, and he looks to be breaking the second Red Bull curse, which is fantastic. Then we've got Pierre Gasly in 7th position. Really, really good job there from him because, well, he he is best of the rest in the Alpine. Then we have got we've got Lewis Hamilton in 6th position, Norris in P5, Charles Leclerc in P4, Piastri in P3, Russell in 2nd, and Antonelli in 1st. And well, Ferraris are going to get a good start, as always, folks. They are going to get a good start. And there you go. You can see the radios coming through. 5 seconds, 10 seconds now. And the drivers will be very, very shortly moving their way off the grid. And there you go. Kimi Antonelli, George Russell, Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc, all now weaving left to right, left to right, left to right. And they have begun the formation lap, ladies and gents. Alright, seems like the data is also working, no glitching about, which is fantastic. We've got 14,000 people tuned into live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button already, be sure to do so. It goes a very long way to helping out the YouTube channel, and hopefully we can have a lot more of you guys tuning in for the future races in, well, that's going to be in 1 month's time in Miami, right? So there's a lot of work, a lot of big gap from now till Miami, but the last Formula 1 race for a month or so. Whereas the race delayed, there was a crash in the barriers. But look at this. We've got all 22 cars doing the formation lap, which is a first in Formula 1 this year. So all 22 cars are taking part. We'll see if they make it to the end of the formation lap and if they can start the race without stalling the car. But things look good so far. Okay. Yeah, so pretty standard formation lap really there, building up the front tyre temperature, rear tyre temperature. Rear brake temperature is relatively easy to build up, that's not much of an issue. And now Antonelli is driving nice and slowly. Do not jinx it. Yeah, okay, I don't want to jinx it just yet. Previous wins here, Max Verstappen has won in 2022, 2023, 24, 25, but yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be winning in 2026 in the absolute tractor of the Red Bull that he has got this year to drive. And look, Ocon is asking over the radio, can I go full throttle now? Question. Oh my god. He's having to ask over the radio, can I go full throttle? Oh, someone's having an issue. Wait, is that Verstappen? Is that Verstappen going slowly? On the formation lap. What's going on there? Okay, no, I think that's fine. I don't know what was going on. On the broadcast, it looked like someone was overtaking one of the Red Bulls, but I think that was just a bit of a mistake. Yeah. Yeah, apologies for that, folks. For a second, I thought I thought someone had a DNF from the formation lap. But no, we have got Kimi Antonelli, George Russell making their way to the front of the grid. Now they're going nice and slowly. Now it is time to do their burnouts. Will they be able to do the burnouts? Kimi says no, exclamation mark. Or maybe that's his engineer saying it. We don't know for certain. But is Antonelli able to get their burnouts going? He's warming up his front tyres, but I cannot see if he's doing any burnouts or not. Okay, we'll have to see if Antonelli's getting enough rear tyre temperature. But yeah, they're going to be on the front of the grid. They're going to have to wait there, right? Oh, George Russell has just been told Strat 7. Okay, this is good information. So Strat 7 must be full attack mode in the Mercedes power unit. Because, well, they're going to use full attack mode at the start of the race. Yeah, Pierre Gasly's also just been told Strat 7, so they've also got the Mercedes power unit, so that's good to know. Okay, Strat 7 now in the 2026 Mercedes power unit is full attack. And here they are, ladies and gentlemen. They have all lined themselves up on the grid. We've got the Ferrari power units being told press K2. K2 is their attack mode, so it's not K1 to overtake. K2 is the attack mode. We've got the last car on the grid. All of the radio messages have just come through for Lance Stroll approaching the grid. We've got Alonso getting those tyres warmed up, and it is lights out and away we go, ladies and gentlemen. Kimi Antonelli doesn't get the best race start. He's back down to 6th position. Oscar Piastri P1, Charles Leclerc P2, and Antonelli has done it again. Another terrible race start for the youngster, and he's gone from P1 down to P6, and Oscar Piastri is in the lead of the race, ladies and gentlemen. Russell loses 2 positions, Antonelli loses 5, and well, Piastri leads the race. Brilliant from Oscar Piastri, and Charles Leclerc just making it through in the by the finest of margins into second position. Now let's see if he can stay on the back of Oscar Piastri, or is Piastri just going to drive off into the sunset? I mean, this is great for the Australian fans that were hoping for Piastri to do something in the first 2 races. Unfortunately, not much has happened in the first 2 races for Piastri, but he is now leading the race here in Suzuka. Okay, into Spoon Curve they go, and the gap is within 1 second for Charles Leclerc. Now, overtake mode will get activated on the following lap, and Lando Norris is already being told to use boost mode coming out of Spoon Curve to try and overtake Charles Leclerc, to try and stay within margin of him, because Leclerc is attacking this one very, very hard. And quickest in the middle sector is Charles Leclerc, 3/10 faster than Oscar Piastri in the middle sector. Incredible scenes. Overtake mode has been enabled, ladies and gentlemen, and Oscar Piastri, Charles Leclerc are going to get overtake in towards turn number 1. Now let's look at the speeds here. We've got Piastri going up to 304 kilometers per hour. Charles Leclerc is only going up to 290. So Leclerc going slower down the straight, and in fact about to get overtaken by Lando Norris, but he just stays ahead by very, very minor margins. But now this means that he's got a little bit more battery that he can deploy at a different part of the lap. Right. So proud of Oscar. Yeah, he's done a brilliant start off the line, and well, he's also looking to drive off into the sunset. The gap between himself and Leclerc, 1.7 seconds. In the first sector alone, Piastri is 3/10 up. Brilliant from him. And now Antonelli trying to make some quick progress up through the field. He's already re-overtaken Lewis Hamilton and up into P5 for Antonelli. Now let's see, what is he going to do against his teammate? Are we going to get a Mercedes civil war back in Formula 1? Because Antonelli seems to be the quicker of the 2 Mercedes drivers this weekend. Verstappen has overtaken Hadjar, and I don't think Hadjar's going to fight this one back too hard. And all right, here they are coming down the straight now. Look at this. I mean, this was just a momentary thing. The speed isn't updating, that accurately, but for a moment there, we had Leclerc going 50 kilometers per hour quicker than Piastri was. And yeah, but the minimum speeds that the drivers getting through the corners relatively similar. And all right, Hadjar's just re-overtaken Max Verstappen. Okay, and then Verstappen has just re-overtaken Hadjar. There we go. It looks like the battling is going to continue for the drivers as they go through the formation, well, not the formation lap, as they go through lap number 3 of 53. George Russell gets ahead of Lando Norris. Some very, very nice pace there from George in towards turn number 1, and Norris just could not do much about it. And Antonelli is now hot on his heels. All right. Yeah, this is pretty close here between the 2 Red Bull drivers. We'll see if they continue. Well, they're not going to continue swapping because Verstappen's overtaken Hadjar. Verstappen's overtaken Ocon, and Hadjar has not. Leclerc versus Oscar. Yeah, I mean, Leclerc versus Oscar, 1.8 seconds is the gap. I think Russell versus Leclerc is the bigger battle to look at and to pay attention to right now. George has got to focus here. Yeah. He's got to lock in and see if he can overtake Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc knows that Russell is 0.7 seconds behind him. He's got overtake, and let's see now, will Charles Leclerc be able to hold off George Russell? Also, Leclerc partially closing up that gap to Piastri. Also, look at this, 230 and 280 is the speed difference at the exit of Spoon. The GPS seems to be failing for a lot of drivers as they go through Spoon Curve, but yeah, it seems like Piastri is a whole lot slower on the exit there. Fastest lap of the race there for Kimi Antonelli, and as he comes across the line, it's George Russell that takes that away from him, and Russell is gaining, and oh my goodness me, he goes to the inside, says thank you very much to Charles Leclerc, job done. I mean, that was just the most plain battery overtake that you've ever seen in your life, really. Leclerc not deploying battery and Russell deploying battery, and that was that. Not much that Charles Leclerc could really do about that one. So it's a bit over there for Charles Leclerc, and now we'll see how long it takes Russell to catch up to Oscar Piastri, but Antonelli's still yet to overtake Lando Norris. GP200 and GP2, yeah, for Charles Leclerc, because Russell just breezed past him in towards turn number 1. Yeah, Okay. I mean, Sergio Perez has just been told mode race. I mean, I don't know what other mode are you going to be in? Mode practice? Like, what's going on down there at the Cadillac field? Cadillac, yeah. What does the purple mark on the name mean? The purple mark means that they've got the fastest lap of the race. The Mercedes is so fast. Yeah, it is. It is a bit of a rocket ship. But at the front of the grid, right, they've both now got the Mercedes power unit. It's not Mercedes versus Ferrari. It is now Mercedes versus Mercedes in P1 and P2, or Mercedes power unit versus Mercedes power unit. And we'll see what Russell can do. And will he close the gap to Oscar Piastri? We've got Colapinto complaining about understeer, which he was complaining about in practice sessions as well. So clearly Alpine could not fix the understeer issues for Colapinto throughout free practice. And Russell is closing the gap on Piastri, actually. It does look like that. All right, Mercedes is a rocket ship. We've got 19,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. We'll be commentating for the rest of the season as well. Admittedly, we've got a 1 month break, but yeah, we'll be commentating for the rest of the season. All right, up at the front then, it is medium tyres for everyone on the grid, apart from Valtteri Bottas, who's in dead last. Piastri's going to get overtaken by Russell, is he though? Is he? Piastri is on his revenge arc. He's had enough of not driving in Formula 1, and he's in fact coming over the radio saying the radio is really bad on the foot straight. I think that's probably the back straight. I think that is what he's referring to, because the GPS also cuts out there, and yeah, it's a bit strange really. I don't know why the radio isn't working. Like, radios work relatively well across 2 to 3 to 4 kilometers, so bit strange. But Russell slowly closing that gap. He's just not instantly doing it like he did with Charles Leclerc. It's now down to 1.1 seconds. We'll see if Russell can bring it down into the overtake mode zone. Have you considered live streaming other races like GT3? A little bit, but the audience just isn't as big as it is in Formula 1, so... Okay. Why is Ferrari slower than before? Because they had a quali setup? I'm not sure. It's a bit strange, really. But I think it's more so the Mercedes are just so much faster. What about MotoGP? I watch a bit of MotoGP here and there. I think it's quite good. Okay, so what overtakes have we really got going on right now? Hadjar trying to overtake Arvin Lindblad, the battle of the sort of the B tier Red Bull drivers, if you want to put it that way. I mean, Hadjar isn't really B tier, but yeah, it's just crazy to see that Red Bull and Racing Bulls are so close to each other. Because right now Hadjar is in a Racing Bull sandwich, which is not great, and Max Verstappen is not that far ahead. He's only 2 seconds ahead, and Max Verstappen is the big gap to the front, right? You can see Verstappen is the sort of the star of the slower drivers, and Gasly is doing a relatively good job keeping up with Lewis Hamilton. Well, I think Gasly's going to have a race a bit of a sort of no man's land, really. And Russell now firmly within overtake here of... mate, spamming in the chat is not going to get your question answered. And... yeah, Russell now is closing up to Piastri. Why is Antonelli not overtaking Norris? Because Antonelli's not quick enough, clearly. They've both got the Mercedes power unit. He breezed past Hamilton because Hamilton's on the Ferrari power unit, but now he's going up against his own power unit. We'll see how long it takes for Antonelli to get past Norris. He's trying in towards turn number 1, but he's just not close enough, and he can't send a lunge into turn number 1. It's not a big enough of a braking zone, so he's got to wait until the chicane at the end of the lap. But who knows? Alonso's been told might use energy now to defend. I mean, I don't think Alonso's too interested in defending against Lance Stroll here. It's the Suzuka special. It's Honda's home race, and it's P20, P21 for the Honda team. Well, for the Honda power units, it's not so great, is it? Okay, Max has been told we're maximizing the harvest, Max. Great, real fun. Hamilton's been told to reduce sliding through turn number 3. Too much wheel spin. Too much sliding of the front wheels and too much overheating there for Lewis Hamilton, and that's why he can't keep up with Antonelli. Antonelli again getting very close in towards turn number 1, but not close enough. And Russell is getting closer and closer to Piastri, but it seems like the only thing that can beat the Mercedes power unit is the Mercedes power unit. Because they're doing a pretty good job out there. The McLaren team holding their own pace up and holding off the Mercedes drivers as well. Okay. And we've got Stroll overtaking Fernando Alonso. Nice battle there at the bottom of the field, which, they'll continue on with that. What does it mean when there's a dark green circle? So the circle here means that they're gaining on the driver ahead of them, and then the full green means that they're within 1 second. So this circle here, Stroll is apparently catching up to Perez, and Lawson's apparently catching up to Hadjar. But it's not always the most correct thing in the world. However, this is always correct, and they're always within 1 second of the driver ahead of them. Right. Norris is Russell in towards on the exit of the chicane. Actually, gets a really good exit and is now ahead of Piastri. Is Piastri going to be able to re-overtake him back? Yes, he is. A whole bunch of battery deployment. Says thank you very much. I'll take that P1 off you again, George. And it's Oscar Piastri back into P1. Mushroom Mario Kart Racing, ladies and gentlemen. Mushroom Mario Kart Racing. And Piastri's back into P1. Okay, what are the stints on these tyres? The driver's probably going to pit around lap number 20. 20 is the pit stop window that we are expecting to see. So, about 10 more laps, and we'll start to see drivers coming into the pit lane. Charles Leclerc also holding off Lando Norris. It's getting pretty feisty out there, and it's getting rather close between Leclerc, Norris, and Antonelli for third position. Spamming golden mushrooms, exactly. Are most drivers putting on hards? Yes, they will be. They'll be going from the mediums to the hards. That's the optimal strategy. Russell talking about the derate button. So Russell trying to talk about recharging the battery or something. I'm not sure. But the team radios are really coming through here. Yeah, I mean, they're getting a few messages over to Sergio Perez, to Esteban Ocon, how to change the battery deployment settings and stuff like that, and the engine maps to get a bit more speed. But quite a few drivers struggling here with tyre wear. Suzuka is notoriously tough on the tyres, especially the first sector. It absolutely chews through the tyres, so the drivers do have to be careful of that. No, Oscar cannot win. No, Oscar definitely could win, right? If he holds on to P1 and if he undercuts George Russell and the McLaren team do a quick pit stop, I think that Piastri has a genuine shot at holding on to the lead of this race. We'll have to see though. Okay. And we've got Kimi Antonelli looks to the inside of Norris, but can't get a move done there. Okay. Let's see. Antonelli's getting closer and closer here. I mean, you can have a look at these speeds, right? Just on the rightmost column, you can see what Antonelli is doing compared to Norris. And Antonelli is gaining. Look at that, an extra 15 kilometers per hour compared to Lando Norris. But how much lap time is he really gaining from that? He's gaining what, about half a tenth, 1/10 down that straight for deploying all of that extra battery. Right, Sainz not too happy there over the radio, and we've got Russell is still there, still 6/10 back. Thanks, Ken Meredith, for joining the channel membership. Much appreciated. Do you think McLaren will prioritise Norris if they undercut Oscar? If they undercut Oscar, no, they'll prioritise Oscar because McLaren want to win a race, right? So they will most certainly be prioritising Oscar because he's in P1 and Norris is in P4. But it does make sense. If you do want to undercut someone, you should pit Norris, and Norris can then attempt to undercut Charles Leclerc. You also don't want to get undercut by George Russell, so maybe lap 18 even, we might see a pit stop of one of the drivers come in because they don't want to risk getting undercut here in Suzuka because the tyre wear is so strong. Getting undercut is a real possibility, and the undercut is a lot more powerful than the overcut here. So we'll have to keep that in mind. Also, the drivers, as you see there, just over there, they lose 23 seconds in the pits. So if Piastri was to pit right now, he would come out between Lawson and Colapinto in a whole bunch of traffic. I mean, look at this. He would come out over here. So there needs to be a gap for him to pit into as well to make sure that he can actually attack on his outlap and things like that. So currently, there's no gap right now, and they can't come into the pits. Yep, here they are coming down the start-finish straight again, and we've got Charles Leclerc, who is 1 second ahead of Antonelli, and Antonelli, who is 6/10 ahead of Lando Norris. They make their way down the straight. Charles Leclerc going 300, Antonelli going 305, and Norris going 325. But by the end of the straight, no overtakes have been completed. Okay. Kimi is holding on. He's holding off Lando Norris, and we'll see if Piastri can do the same. Really, if he can hold off George Russell. 6/10 he's been holding it at 6/10. You've got to give him props, right? Russell did blast past once, and Piastri was like, "Yeah, you can blast past me here. I'll blast past you through the next straight." Do you think Max can overtake? I mean, well, given that Max is 4.5 seconds back from Gasly, I don't think he is really going to be able to pull off an overtake from that far back. Yeah, he's just... I don't think he's even gaining on Gasly, to be honest. Yeah, on the previous lap, he's slower. Oh, sorry, no, he's quicker by a tenth, sorry. But he's not gaining by that big of a margin. That rejected shift is because you're shifting too quickly. Okay, so the computer is actually rejecting the downshift. So I think Norris is trying to downshift early to try and recharge the battery as much as possible, but the engine is basically saying you're not allowed to shift, otherwise you're going to blow up the engine. And so, yeah, Lando Norris are trying to downshift super aggressively. And if those safety measures weren't in place, you know, the engine would spike up to 12,000, 13,000, 14,000 RPM, and you'd get some serious problems in the Merc power unit. Vasampthis, thanks for the $20 donation. Every time I see Oscar lead, I hear the Mad Max soundtrack. Well, Max is a little bit too far back, really, but I get the sentiment. Who do I think will win the race? Well, it's looking like it's going to be Piastri. I think Piastri might actually be able to hold him off. So McLaren versus Mercedes could be the battle, because we haven't really seen what McLaren are capable of. And I was talking to one of my friends who works at McLaren, and he was saying everyone in the factory believes that they can still win the championship. And well, if today's driving is anything to go by Oscar Piastri, well, they're still in with a shot. You know, the first two races weren't great for them, but if they can turn things around, then well, who knows how it turns out for the McLaren drivers. Also, I mentioned this during free practice, but I guess I might as well mention it now. Apparently, in the McLaren factory, they were listening to my live stream during pre-season testing. the person who invented the F duct was recommending my live stream to my friend. Like, obviously my friend from university who knows about my channel. He works at McLaren now, and he got recommended my own stream by the guy who designed the F duct, which after I found that one out, you couldn't wipe the smile off my face for the next few hours. I was pretty over the moon. So, maybe we've got some people in the McLaren factory right now listening in. Hello, and well, we wish you the best, because we do want someone to compete against Mercedes. All right. And Antonelli still not been able to do much. All right, we are now approaching the undercut sort of, undercut sort of region, right? We could potentially see Lawson's GPS is broken. He's still driving around on the circuit. I don't know why it says he's P22. But what did I want to say? Yeah, so we are now approaching the point in time where we can see the drivers might start undercutting. So we might see Antonelli potentially go into the pits. It will be a little bit early, but 40 laps on hard tyres is still possible. It's not ideal, but it's definitely doable. And yeah, he could try pull off the undercut against Ferrari. I don't think Ferrari really know what's going on, to be honest. If strategy battles start going on, then the game's gone for Ferrari. They might as well leave the Formula One before the Formula One leaves them. And Max Verstappen coming over the radio saying, "It feels like I'm driving without power steering. My steering feels really heavy." That is weird. I mean, that could be a potential sign of loss of hydraulic pressure, because it's the hydraulics that do power steering. So don't know what's going on there down for Max Verstappen, but some potential issues with hydraulics. What is an undercut? An undercut is pitting earlier, and if you pit earlier, you come out with a fresh set of tyres, whereas your rival is out on an old set of tyres, so you can overtake them because you have quicker tyres, you can drive faster essentially. But again, you've got to look at the pit stop window, right? So if Piastri was to pit right now, he comes out just ahead of Ocon, and then he's got, if the pit stop is perfect, he comes out just ahead of Ocon, and then he's got a margin to close up on Max Verstappen, and that margin is about 6 seconds or so, which is enough clean air. But it is it's a bit close there. If Russell pits, then he comes out behind Ocon, and then there's traffic for him. And same thing for Antonelli, right? If Antonelli comes into the pits now, he comes out in a whole bunch of traffic near Lindblad and Hadjar and stuff like that. So he can't pit just yet. A bit more pace is required. Okay. And Russell actually dropping off the back of Piastri. Piastri has managed to hold it out at the front very, very nicely. Gap up to 1.4. Okay. So here we go then. Lap number 15 right now. Oh, Piastri, what's you can see the tyres coming off there. Okay. Oh, Antonelli has overtaken Charles Leclerc. How has that happened? A whole bunch of battery deployment there for Kimi Antonelli, and a mistake there for Charles Leclerc. And Antonelli up into P3. Is Leclerc going to re-overtake him down the straight? It looked like he certainly is. And he's just re-overtaken him. Back they go into 3 and 4 in the same order as they were before. Isaac Hadjar gets the overtake done on Arvin Lindblad, and Lindblad re-overtakes him. Classic F1 2026 maneuver. I think that's what I'm going to call it. F1 2026 classic maneuver. Lando Norris says very lovely. I think our pace is good. So Norris still happy about how the pace is going. And Isaac Hadjar is not too happy there. Something's going on. He's been given a black and white flag. Who's been given a black and white flag? Lindblad. Lindblad's been given a black and white flag for moving under braking. I mean, look, this is what he's been doing in Formula 2 as well. His racing, or his racecraft, if you want to put it, in Formula 2 was not that great for Arvin Lindblad. He's been given a black and white flag immediately for moving under braking. So he's got to watch out, because, he doesn't want to feel the wrath of the FIA, to be honest. Piastri's been asked over the radio, what do you think about an undercut? And Piastri said, if the tyres can make it to the end, we're happy to do so. Well, I'm happy to do so. And he's doing pretty good out there. Yeah, if Piastri was to pit right now, then he would have he'd have enough clean air, about 4 seconds, 5 seconds worth of clean air, and then he'd catch up to Max Verstappen. And Lando Norris into the pit lane. So Lando Norris trying the undercut here, ladies and gentlemen. This might pull off a sequence of pit stops. With Norris into the pits, we've got now Antonelli and Charles Leclerc potentially at threat of being undercut. So now they've got to attack, and we'll see how that works out for them. Christian Vellner, thanks for the gifted memberships, much appreciated there, buddy. Glad that you are. Thanks for supporting the channel. Yeah. The Stroll's car is vibrating a bunch, is it? Well, look, the Aston Martin was vibrating so much when the cars are parked on the starting grid and all they're doing is revving up the engine to start the race. You can see from the onboard, Alonso's car is like vibrating about. You can see it shaking, and you check any other cars on board, it's perfectly still when they're on the starting grid, just revving up the car before the race begins. But the Aston Martin is vibrating about like crazy. Okay, and now we've got a reasonably quick pit stop there for Norris, right? It was 2.5 seconds. So Leclerc and Antonelli, both of the Mercedes and the Ferrari pit crew, are now under pressure to make an even quicker pit stop than that to ensure that their driver does not get undercut. Lando Norris, let's see what his middle sector time is going to be. His first sector, of course, was very slow because he came into the pits. And let's see what the Ferrari team do. Oh, Charles Leclerc's been told to box. They've been told to box for Charles Leclerc. Is Antonelli going to follow him in? Let's wait and see. No, he's not. Antonelli continues on. Charles Leclerc's into the pits, and Leclerc is protecting against the undercut there from Lando Norris. Lando Norris's middle sector was a 40.005. That is about a tenth slower than Antonelli's, and Antonelli's on old tyres, so not too shabby there, but Norris have obviously got to warm up his tyres a little bit. Leclerc comes out of the pit lane. Well, he is now going to come out of the pit lane, and he should come out ahead of Lando Norris. It might be a little bit close because Norris goes purple in the final sector, but Leclerc holds on, and he comes out ahead of Lando Norris. Good strategy, Ferrari. Good strategy. Very nice. All right. And yeah, fair enough. Nicely done. Now let's see, what does Antonelli do? Is Antonelli now going to start pushing in the clean air? Yes, he most certainly is. He goes purple, he goes green in the first sector, and he goes second fastest actually out of anyone in sector number 1. So very, very nicely done there from Antonelli. He's starting to pick up the pace now that he's got a bit of clean air ahead of him. Okay. And we've got Colapinto also coming into the pits. Nice there from Colapinto. And Antonelli, again, look at that, second fastest in the second sector. So Antonelli's still got pace, surprisingly enough, after 17 laps, after being stuck in the dirty air of Charles Leclerc, has still got pace in those medium tyres to continue on pushing. And Piastri now dives into the pit lane. Let's see, where is he going to come out in terms of clean air? He should come out ahead of Leclerc, but behind Max Verstappen. And that should be more than enough clean air for Oscar Piastri. All right, and Antonelli has just had a fastest lap of the race, 17 lap old medium tyres, and he just goes fastest lap of the race. Like, how has he done that? He's 7 tenths quicker than Russell on the previous lap, and well, Antonelli's not giving this fight up easily, right? He's had a bad race start. He's in fact had multiple bad race starts this season, but he's not giving up the fight just yet. And Piastri comes out behind Verstappen, there you go, and now he's got to attack. We'll see what Russell's doing as well in terms of his sector times. Is he, trying to pull off the overcut? I mean, it could work, but oh no, they've said Russell, target -7, thank you. Target -7 suggests that they're going to be coming into the pits relatively soon. Who knows? Okay, let's wait and see. We got 22,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. I'll be commentating the race in Miami as well, so I hope to see you guys there. That would be pretty good. But yeah, we've got a month till the race in Miami, which is quite the long way away. We've got Arvin Lindblad coming out of the pit lane now in 16th position, and everyone that has come into the pits, they've all come out on hard tyres. Okay. We are all talking about Russell World Drivers' Championship, but it seems like it might be Anthony's as well. Yeah, I mean, Anthony's not going to give this one up easily, especially when you've got a championship-winning car underneath you, right? He has most certainly got a championship-winning car underneath him, and, well, he's certainly got the pace to attack as well. Had just been told to box this lap. We got Charles Leclerc purple in the middle sector, and... well, we'll see what his pace is like relative to Antonelli's, but Leclerc on a fresh set of hard tyres is doing a 134.4. Antonelli on a used set of mediums is doing a 134.3, so a tenth quicker on such old tyres. The Mercedes are now in clean air, and they're just going to carry on cooking in the clean air. I think that's what their strategy is. But, you know, the McLarens, the Ferraris have also got their own bit of clean air. Lando Norris purple in the first sector. Why is everyone getting the hard tyre? Because that's the ideal strategy. Start the race on the mediums, then go on to the hards, and call it a day. No more pit stops. Isaac Hadjar over the radio. What happened to that idiot? Idiot again, and then says, "Don't worry about it." And yeah, it's. I think Hadjar's not too pleased, but he comes into the pit lane now, and he's ahead of Arvin Lindblad. Why is Max slow, man? Well, you know, Max is slow because, well, the Red Bull car is 19 kilograms overweight. 19 kilograms overweight is costing him half a second per lap, and that is why he's so slow. Hadjar needs to chill out. I mean, he's taken on the same sort of attitude as Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda, a lot of swearing over the radio, a lot of getting angry. Piastri gets ahead of Max Verstappen. Verstappen doesn't fight it too much. Verstappen's on very old tyres. Piastri not so much. Lando Norris, fastest lap of the race. He goes nearly a full second faster than his teammate there on that previous lap. But yeah, Lando Norris has got a bit of clean air to do, a bit of clean air and a bit of catching up to Charles Leclerc. Okay. Oscar Piastri now fastest in the first sector, so yeah, the McLarens have still got some pace there. And on that previous lap, he's still slower than Piastri is still slower than Antonelli and Russell. Wait, how are the Mercs up at the front doing a 134.5 or 134.2 on 20 lap old mediums? I mean, Hamilton is doing a 135.1. That's nearly 8 tenths slower. Yeah, the Mercedes' clean air pace is sort of crazy. The pit stop window, 23 seconds, folks. 23 seconds is how much you lose when you come into the pits. So if Russell was to pit right now, he would come out behind Max Verstappen and behind Piastri. And he does pit right now, actually. There we go. Russell into the pits. And yeah, he'll be coming out maybe even behind Leclerc, depending on how quick the pit stop is. It's really now down to the Mercedes crew to get this pit stop done nice and quickly. But Russell into the pits now. And he's got his tyres switched out. Charles Leclerc coming down the start-finish straight. And it might be close. Actually, never mind. It's not that close, really. And Russell comes out ahead of Charles Leclerc. Yeah, it would have probably been close if it was a slow pit stop by the Mercedes crew, but it was a relatively quick one, so no sort of issues there. Yeah, it was in fact, yeah. Oh, yellow flag. What's it? Oh. Safety car. Okay, Antonelli has just been blessed by the safety car, and if the safety car's out, for who and for what, I have no clue, but the safety car's out, and Behrman at Spoon Curve has crashed at Spoon, has Ollie Behrman. The cars is very tricky to balance there, and Kimi Antonelli has been blessed, and so is Lewis Hamilton. If they come into the pits right now, they're going to get a pit stop that only costs them 11 seconds worth of race time. You normally lose 23 seconds in the pit stops. Now it is going to be 11 seconds because the safety car is out. I mean, Ferrari, please stop, guys. Please bring Hamilton into the pits, because yeah, like, it would be stupid not to. It would be really, really dumb if you didn't do that, Ferrari. Antonelli, does he go into the pits? Yes, he does. I think he does. Yeah, Antonelli does. There we go. and Lewis Hamilton dive into the pit lane. I mean, look, folks, you're calling this lucky, and it is, right? In motorsports, there is luck always. Russell, of course, is not very happy. He's just been screwed over. If he pitted one lap later, he would have got a safety car and would have saved so much time. But, that is racing at the end of the day. Lewis Hamilton does get pulled into the pit lane. Good strategy call there. And now the rest of the drivers that haven't come into the pits will now be pitting. Okay. Yeah, Russell did get cooked. I mean, it's just sort of the way things go, right? Like, sometimes the safety car is in your favour, sometimes it's not. It is racing at the end of the day. So, here we go then, folks. Kimi Antonelli comes out in the lead of the race with Piastri in P2, Russell P3, Hamilton P4, Leclerc P5, Norris P6. That is the top 6, folks. Behrman just said a personal, did he? Where's Ollie Behrman on the screen? Ollie Behrman was doing all right, I think, but yeah. Ollie is hurt, is he? Wait, let me have a look. Oh yeah, he's his foot. He seems to be not walking. His ankle, I think. Yeah, it seems to be his ankle that he's limping on. He crashed into the barrier at pretty high speed there. Going into Spoon Curve, the drivers are going around. They're in 7th gear, so that means they're approximately at like 280 to 300 kilometers per hour or so in 7th gear before he then hits the brakes. But yeah, if you lose the rear of the car there, you snap and you just go straight into the barriers. So we've got a replay here of Ollie Behrman, and he's going in towards Spoon Curve. He's gaining and gaining and gaining, and incredible overspeed over the grass. And it's not like he huge amount of overspeed, then goes over the grass because he gets the door shut on him. He can't slow down because he's in the air, essentially flying over the grass and the bumps. And I don't know. Ooh, that's a tough one, isn't it? Franco Colapinto, I mean, it was a bit of a strange one in terms of the line that Colapinto was taking. Let's watch this from the replay of Ollie Behrman's perspective again. Okay, let's watch the replay. So, yeah, Colapinto moves to the left while Behrman is also going to the left. So there's nothing that Behrman can really do at that point apart from continue just steering onto the grass. So either he crashes into Colapinto or he goes off into the grass. He drove onto the grass, and it looks like he's hurt his ankle. Yeah, the thing is though, he sort of crashed into the barriers sideways. So that is it wasn't like a direct impact like this, but like it wasn't a direct forward collision, but it was sort of on the side, and some sort of issue with his ankle. I mean, they'll confirm it later, of course, but yeah, hopefully it isn't bad. I mean, he's out of the car, right? His leg or his ankle or something like that has been injured. And I imagine, right, if it's a sidewards impact, then what will have happened? Well, I'm sort of guessing here, right? Like I've obviously never crashed a Formula 1 car before, but his feet may have moved sideways in the cockpit when he impacted the wall in the sideways direction, and then his foot will have hit the carbon fiber pretty hard. So that could potentially be it. But Behrman will give a press conference at some point, and he's been put into the medical car now, I think, and he'll be taken back to the pits. The driver behind the safety car, the current order right now, for anyone that is listening, just like a radio broadcast, we've got Antonelli P1, Piastri P2, Russell 3rd, Hamilton 4th, Leclerc 5th, Norris 6th, Gasly 7th, Verstappen 8th, Lawson 9th, Bortoletto 10th, Ocon 11th, Hulkenberg 12th, Hadjar 13th, Lindblad 14th, Sainz 15th, Colapinto 16th, Albon 17th, Perez 18th, Stroll 19th, Alonso 20th, coming out of the pits onto a set of medium tyres. Bit strange. I don't know what he's doing there. Maybe it's just some more testing work for the McLaren crew. And Bottas 21. The closing speed was crazy. Yeah, it was a ridiculous closing speed there. And that was the things that people were talking about, right? They were saying, oh, if someone's deploying the battery and someone isn't deploying the battery, the speed difference is way, way too big, and so it could be a little bit unsafe. And, well, yeah, I will just show you here on the flying lap as well on my screen. Give me just a sec. Let's pop this over here. So it's towards Spoon Curve. So basically, yeah, so here he goes. He goes through this part, and at this point in the lap, Colapinto is here, and he's moving over to the left, and Behrman is behind him, and Behrman goes off into the grass on the left-hand side. So you're going through here, and yeah, you sort of come across the left-hand side. That's what Colapinto is doing, and then Behrman off onto the grass even further to the left, and then bounces over the grass, can't brake because he's sideways and he's in the air. Not like a huge amount of air or anything, and then into the barriers. Was Franco at fault? Well, look, I don't know, it's tough to say because Colapinto did move over to the left while Behrman was approaching, but it is a relatively standard defensive maneuver. You know, you see a driver approaching in your mirrors, let's move over to the left-hand side, and I don't think Colapinto was expecting Behrman to come at such a speed, because the difference, right, when a driver overtakes you down the straight, normally, you know, they're going by 10 kilometers per hour quicker, you can sort of see them in your mirrors, you can see them pull out, you can see them go past you, but Behrman, it seemed like, was going nearly 40 kilometers per hour quicker than Colapinto at that point. So I don't know if you can really blame Colapinto for that one, because he just wasn't expecting Behrman to come by him at that speed. Oh yeah, are they going to let Bottas pass the safety car? That is the other thing, because Bottas is currently a lap down. Yeah, Ollie's right leg. I mean, you know, Colapinto, I don't know, it's yeah. It's tough to make the call really, because it's all split-second reactions. Like, Colapinto may have seen him in the mirror on the left and then decided to pull over to the right. Like, yeah, it's a bit tough to say. All right, we're on lap number 25 of 53 here in Suzuka. We've got 29 laps left of this race, and we've had one crash, one DNF, and that being Ollie Behrman. He's got out of the car, he's all right, but he is limping ever so slightly, and yeah. Yeah, so many radio messages. I mean, I'm a bit surprised, really. Normally, the radio messages aren't working so well, but we're getting so many radio messages come through. It is pretty tough to keep on track of them. Alonso catching up quick. I mean, you know, Alonso's catching up quickly because everyone's behind safety car conditions. So, yeah. Okay. Behrman crashed at Spoon Curve at turn 13. We've got a lot of marshals out on the track now, clearing up all of the debris from Behrman's impact with the foam barrier, well, the foam sort of brake marker boards and stuff like that. And yeah, there's still marshals on the track, so they're still just driving around very slowly. Bottas has been allowed to lap the field. He's overtaken everyone, and he's going to now go around and catch up to the back of the grid. The safety car isn't ending just yet. We've still got marshals out on the track. We've still got Bottas to catch up to the back of the pack. Okay. All right. So there we go, folks. We're approaching the halfway point of the race, and there we go. Everyone just driving around relatively slowly behind the safety car. We'll be getting racing very, very shortly. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water here. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It goes a long, long way to helping out the channel. Hopefully we can carry on keeping the momentum going. and hopefully can make our way towards 240k subscribers. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. Hopefully we can make our way at least to 238. That'd be brilliant. How much longer is the safety car? Probably one more lap, I think, or either it's going to end this lap. We'll wait and see. Because I think the marshals have cleared up most of the debris now. Russell says, can you confirm Kimi is going in the place that we trained? So Mercedes have practiced safety car restarts, and Russell is asking the team, is Antonelli going to go at the time that, where we practiced in the simulator? So, and they've replied back to him, we're not sure. So Antonelli could do whatever. But Russell here, if he knows where Antonelli is going to put his foot to the, is going to go full throttle, then he can also preempt that, have everything ready, have the battery ready to go full send, and then overtake Piastri in towards turn number 1. So what are the Mercedes guys up to? But, look, it's a good idea, it's a good strategy. If you know where the lead driver is going to go full send behind the safety car, then, well, it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense. All right, Bottas is going to catch up soon enough, but the safety car, I don't think is it going in this lap? I think they would have announced it by now if it was going to come. Oh, it is. Safety car is in this lap, ladies and gentlemen. All right, here we go, folks. Safety car is in this lap, and Bottas will catch up soon enough, but Kimi Antonelli is now backing up the field. The safety car is making its way towards the pit lane, and we are exactly halfway through this Japanese Grand Prix. 150 kilometers completed, 150 kilometers remain. Kimi Antonelli is backing up the field, and, well, let's see, when does he put his foot to the floor, and when is he going to accelerate for the safety car restart? Will George Russell be able to get the jump on Oscar Piastri? Is Kimi Antonelli going to go at the pre-planned location for the safety car restart? Let's wait and see. But Kimi Antonelli now comes out of the final corner, and his foot is flat to the floor, and up to 300 k's down the straight, and Oscar Piastri has not been caught napping. George Russell, however, has been. Hamilton down the inside at turn number 1 says thank you very much. P3 for Lewis Hamilton, George Russell into P4, and oh my goodness me, Ferrari off the safety car restart. I think there is a tiny advantage for the Ferrari power unit off the safety car restart compared to, of course, the race start. The Ferraris get a mega race start every time, but I think from the safety car restart, the Ferraris have a tiny bit more advantage than the Mercedes do, and Hamilton has he swooped around the outside, not the inside, but either way, great move there from Lewis, and I think Russell was having some battery problems. Up at the front, gap 1.6 seconds. Will Piastri be able to keep Antonelli honest? Will he be able to stay within range, or is Antonelli just going to drive off into the sunset? Antonelli has just set a purple first sector. Okay. But we've now got pretty much everyone within overtake of each other. So let's see how this works out. And Piastri second fastest in sector number 2, so is Hamilton, and now their job is to catch up to Kimi Antonelli. Okie dokes. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way, folks. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. Here we are then. We are more than halfway through the race here in Japan, and Antonelli leads by 1.5 seconds. Very, very close margins up here. Yeah. I mean, no real overtakes happening right now. Russell is getting closer and closer to Lewis Hamilton, and we know how, well, if we look at the previous overtakes, we know it's relatively straightforward for the Mercedes drivers to get past Ferrari cars. So we'll see how long it takes Russell to do so. And is it going to be slightly harder now that Hamilton will also get a bit of slipstream and a bit of not DRS, but a bit of overtake from Oscar Piastri ahead of him? Okay. Here we go. Antonelli, purple in the middle sector. George Russell, purple in the first sector. The Mercedes are dominating. A fastest lap of the race there for Antonelli as well. I mean, yeah, I don't think Piastri is really going to be able to keep up. There's a reason why Antonelli got pole and Piastri didn't, and it's because, the Mercedes car is a rocket ship. Okay, Hadjar overtakes Nico Hulkenberg. Nice job there. We'll see if he gets re-overtaken back down in towards turn number 1. I would not be surprised at all if that was to happen. But no, it seems like Hadjar's managed to stay ahead. Lindblad has, however, overtaken Hulkenberg as well. So it seems like Hulkenberg's having some problems there. And, Hulkenberg loses 2 positions in one corner. All right, another fastest lap of the race there for Antonelli, and another purple first sector as well. Wow. But look, the top 6 within 5 seconds of each other. It's all right, as long as, if there's some overtakes, I'm not going to complain too much, but I just don't want everyone just to be sat within DRS of each other, or overtake of each other. Norris is gaining a little bit, yes, that is correct. Lindblad not too happy, his tyres are gone. How is his tyre got? How's Lindblad's tyres gone? He's only done 11 laps on them, and 5 of them were behind the safety car. Okay, well, here comes Kimi Häkkinen. Purple sector 1, purple sector 2, and let's see what sector number 3 is going to be. They're telling Hamilton to go for a lower throttle through turn number 6 so you can get more power throughout the rest of the corners. This is exactly what we want in Formula 1. It's another fastest lap of the race there for Kimi Antonelli, a 1:32.8, and that is now 3 fastest laps in a row. Right. Russell again is in a Ferrari sandwich. Oh, that is true, actually. That is true. How long will it take him to get out of a Ferrari sandwich? Let's wait and see. But Hamilton is also not that far behind Piastri, right? Piastri is well within range and is helping out Lewis Hamilton quite significantly in keeping Russell behind. He doesn't necessarily have to work with Leclerc to keep Russell behind. He just has to work with someone else because the Ferrari on its own is not going to be amazing. I think it's Hamilton over the radio saying the car ahead keeps going off at turn 9 and turn 14. So Hamilton snitching on Oscar Piastri saying that he keeps going exceeding track limits. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's been no track limits warnings issued for Oscar Piastri. No lap times deleted. So he can't be going that far off. Oh, you guys are getting adverts. Apologies here, folks. I should probably, yeah. I don't know why it didn't tell me that the adverts were about to come through, but yeah, apologies. Okay, Lindblad lap time deleted there, not great. Oh, Stroll's into the pits, another DNF. Oh my goodness me. Well, another Honda special. Maybe it was just his hands feeling too much vibration. He couldn't take it anymore. But yeah, not great there for Aston Martin and Lance Stroll into the pits. I mean, come on, Stroll. If you're going to retire, at least retire halfway in the middle of the circuit, right? Spice things up a little bit. We don't want Antonelli 3 seconds off in the lead of this race. We want him fighting away with Piastri and Hamilton. But yeah, Stroll's into the pits, and it seems like he's retired from the race. Maybe in 10 laps' time they'll come back out again, and Aston Martin treat this like a practice session. But I guess we shall see. His engineer told him they have a car issue. Okay, fair enough. I mean, look, they're going slowest through the speed traps. They're 21 and 22 through the speed traps. So I'm not really surprised. Yeah, called in by the team. Fair enough, fair enough. So, to be fair, the Aston Martin team did say that they made the vibrations a little bit more bearable for the drivers. They added a few sort of, I guess, some sort of vibration dampeners on the steering wheel to reduce that problem. So, yeah, that hopefully that would have helped. Yeah, the drivers in the top 5, all there within a second of each other. Well, apart from Antonelli, of course, but Antonelli's getting a prime Max Verstappen lead. Well, I don't know, 3.5 seconds after how many laps of racing? 6 laps of racing. I don't know if that's prime Max Verstappen lead, but it's still pretty good. Wait, 50? Oh, was it a 50G impact for Behrman? Well, fair enough. Well, you know, that's why you sort of, I guess that's why his foot was hurting a little bit, right? 50G impact, crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It was a bit of a sideways impact, so I can imagine his 2 feet getting slammed sort of sideways into the side of the cockpit, right? So it was, yeah, look, the thing was, right, there's a big tyre barrier there, but Behrman couldn't scrub off any speed because he was basically off onto the grass, and even if he presses the brakes at that point, you know, the grass hasn't got much grip for him to actually slow down. All right, Lewis has been told turn into six for more power. Don't know exactly. I mean, turn into turn 6, maybe. I'm not sure. Franco Colapinto has been told to downshift earlier into 7th gear, so super clipping is in full effect, and more downshifting down the straights for drivers here. Brilliant, brilliant. Exactly what we want. Okay. If Antonelli became World Drivers' Championship this year, he would beat the record for the youngest champion by 3 years. Yeah, he would. I mean, he's going pretty well, isn't he? Purple first sector again for Kimi Antonelli. And he's, again, picking up the pace. 4.2 seconds up now in the lead. Bro is struggling to get past the Alpine. Yeah, he is. Max is struggling a little bit there. We'll see. Hamilton second fastest in the middle sector, and now Leclerc second fastest in the middle sector. They are keeping each other very, very honest. And George Russell is stuck in that Ferrari sandwich, unable to pass. Antonelli second fastest in the final sector, and that's about half a tenth slower than his personal best. I mean, Antonelli is the only driver on the grid right now that is in the 1 minute 32s. Everyone else is in the 1 minute 33s. Piastri on the previous lap half a second slower, Hamilton 4 tenths slower. His own teammate is 5 tenths slower. So, yeah, good job there from Kimi Antonelli, going for his second win, of course. Back-to-back pole positions. Is he going to get back-to-back wins as well? Also, folks, who is your driver of the day? Yeah, let me know. He does have clean air, that is correct. I mean, Piastri also does have clean air, right? Piastri's got 5 seconds worth of clean air ahead of him and still can't match the lap time of Antonelli. We've got a lot of Antonellis, a lot of Hamiltons, a lot of Piastris. Fair. I mean, yeah. I don't know. it's tough to pick out a driver of the day. I mean, Hamilton got a really good race start, of course, then has managed it quite well. Piastri, I think I'm going to go with Antonelli, mainly just because he's been his gap at the front is pretty mega. But I don't know, maybe Lawson. Lawson's up 5 positions, and that's pretty good, isn't it? So could be Liam Lawson maybe. What the green grids in the circle means, the green lines are the straight mode, so where the drivers can activate where they can drop their front wing and their rear wing to go quickly down the Oh, why does it say Lawson's dropped down to P20? I think he's still lapping around. Yeah, Lawson's GPS is just broken again, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. So yeah, this is where the drivers drop their front wing and rear wing to go quickly, and there you go. Lawson's just jumped back up into P9. And the green dots here, these are the overtake detection points. So if you're within 1 second of the driver ahead of you at this point here, then you will be allowed to deploy your overtake from this point onwards for the rest of the lap. Yeah, Kimi again on the previous lap, again half a second gain. I mean, he's pulling half a second every single lap. And, Russell's trying to get close here to Hamilton, but he really can't pull anything off. Hamilton is putting his car at the right place at the right time, and Russell is getting absolutely nowhere, no progress. Yeah. Hamilton over the radio. This is good. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's pretty pleased with it. Oh, they're telling Lando Norris to take the tight line at the hairpin. Okay, interesting. Typically, the wide line works a little bit better, especially in race conditions, but the engineers think that the tight line might work better. Okay. Funny yet kind of funny. McLaren, despite the same power unit with the Mercedes, yet slower than them in both quali and the race trim. Are the advantages that big for the Mercedes Aero? Well, it's still yet to be seen if McLaren know exactly all of Mercedes' tricks, right? Mercedes, we know that they have some tricks with their power unit, right? It could be the software optimizations, it could be the code, whatever it is. McLaren maybe have got 90% of the way there, but not the final 10%. Or it is just that the Mercedes aerodynamics is better than the McLaren aerodynamics. It's tough to say. Yeah. Oscar, we are reaching the point where you may start to get lubricated. What? I don't know what that's even trying to refer to. But Leclerc gets ahead of George Russell, actually. Russell is not deploying his battery, clearly, and now he's going to try and re-overtake Leclerc in towards the chicane. Will he pull it off at the chicane? Looks like he can't pull it off at the chicane. Now let's see if he can keep it going in towards turn number 1. But Leclerc up into P4 gets ahead of George Russell. All right, here comes George Russell down the main straight, and that's an extra 10, 15 kilometers per hour down the straight. Is he going to be able to get a move done in towards the inside? He isn't, actually. And George Russell is in P5, and that is a confirmed P5. And now the two Ferraris are going to definitely work together to hold off George Russell. What's going on there from George? But Ferrari 3-4 as of right now. Hamilton Leclerc battle, maybe, I don't know. The thing is, if they start battling, then Russell's going to catch up, Norris is going to catch up, and they just cause bigger problems for themselves, because Russell and Norris have got faster cars, and that is confirmed. So I think it's in Ferrari's best interest just to carry on and get P3 and P4 rather than battle away amongst themselves. They gave us a great battle in China, but it also lost them a lot of lap time. Yeah. Also, Vix, I would like to remind you that Russell doesn't have an ideal setup from Mercedes, right? Toto Wolff said himself that the setup was bad on George Russell's car. Russell was complaining about it as well. They did not manage to change the setup between quali and the race. It's not allowed. So Russell is still driving with the bad setup on the Mercedes car, and that, of course, is one of the reasons why his pace isn't so great. Could Antonelli win the title? I mean, it's too early to say, but it's looking good. I mean, look, he could, right? If he's going back-to-back wins at the start of the season, it could happen. But the season is very, very long. We've got 1 month break now for the teams to develop the car, to make upgrades, to make changes. And who knows, Ferrari could arrive with an incredible upgrade package in Miami and blow the Mercedes out of the water. It's just too early to say. Norris is, I think Norris is just sat in 6th position. I don't think he's going for much better because he's closing up ever so slightly up on Russell and Leclerc, but it's not a big margin there for Norris. Okay. Say what you want about Lawson's racecraft, but he's a damn good defender. I mean, Lawson isn't really defending against anyone right now, is he? He's 1 second ahead of Ocon. But Max Verstappen's still stuck behind Pierre Gasly by the looks of it, folks. So, yeah, that's not ideal. Gap at 7 seconds at lap 39 is crazy. I mean, look, it's there was a safety car, right? So that's why the gap is so small. Otherwise, it could have been a whole lot bigger. Russell has some kind of skill problem. Yeah, I don't know. It's that is also true, right? In the previous race in China, there was no sort of issue for George Russell apparently, and well, where was he compared to Antonelli? Exactly. So, who knows? But Antonelli's done a brilliant job, really, and he's just got to keep the momentum going. It's a bit difficult, of course, with a 1 month gap in Formula One, but he'll be doing his best. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. By the way, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. We're about 30 subscribers away from 238k. Ferrari about to do the battle to defend against Mercedes. Yeah, I mean, look, Leclerc is within 7/10 of Hamilton and Russell is within 8/10 of Leclerc. So, yeah, they are just going to be working together. And they'll be absolutely fine, I reckon. The speed trap is just before the braking zone of turn 16. So you can see just where Piastri's approaching now, the little white dot, that is the speed trap. What's Piastri saying over the radio? It's good, I don't want to give up. Any change on safety car plans? I don't know, it's always interesting to hear Piastri's radios. Okay. Here we are then, folks. Lap number 41 of 53. 13 laps remain of this race. Can I ask what is the faded green symbol on Hadjar? I don't know what you're referring to. We're losing a bit of time for info. Copy that, Charles. Oh, Leclerc's basically saying over the radio, "Oh, we're losing time." Okay, fair enough. Well, we'll see. We'll see if the team can do anything about that. They haven't said we are checking just yet, but it's getting pretty close. Leclerc is saying, "Oh, I'm losing time because of Hamilton. I need to overtake him," and he's hoping for some sort of team radio and some team orders. Let's see what happens. I'll put the championship standings up later, but to be honest, the championship standings do not matter. We are on the third race of the season. How to watch the race for free using Proton VPN is you connect to an Austrian VPN server and you search Servers TV and then you watch the race. Yeah. And Leclerc is just about to get ahead of Lewis Hamilton here. Let's see if that's going to happen. He's getting very, very close as he goes through the final chicane here. What is extra speed? Yeah, Leclerc's got an extra 20 kilometers per hour coming down the straight here, and he says, thank you very much, and P3 for Charles Leclerc, Hamilton into P4. I mean, look, like, what could Hamilton even do down the straight? Leclerc was literally going 20 kilometers per hour quicker. So Hamilton P4, and he's going to be defending against his former teammate George Russell, and Charles Leclerc P3 on the podium. How's the race so far? Just your typical Suzuka race? Yeah, I'd say your typical Suzuka race, really. We've had a few battles, but they've all just been the Mario Kart overtakes that we've been talking about. Will Russell engage planned combat? Probably. But again, I don't know how he's going to do it now that he's also got Norris behind him. Norris has picked up the pace, and he was conserving his tyres a little bit earlier on, so now he's got a bit more headroom to attack and to use up his tyres. And Charles Leclerc is holding on to P3. Verstappen drops off the back of Gasly. He tried for many laps to overtake him, could not get it done, and it's P8 for Max Verstappen. All right, folks, do you think Kimi Antonelli is going to lap Valtteri Bottas by the end of this race? Yes or no? 11 laps remain of this race. On the previous lap, Kimi Antonelli 4 entire seconds faster than Valtteri Bottas. That's not Bottas going slowly. That is literally just pure pace. 4 seconds quicker is Antonelli than Bottas, than Perez, than Alonso. I think it's a matter of time now before Antonelli outlaps them. Can Red Bull win in Miami with a month to improve? I mean, I think win is going to be difficult. They can definitely get close to, say, maybe a podium if they can knock all 19 kilograms that they have extra on their car off in time for Miami. Then they'll be in with a shot. But it's tough to say. Okay. 10-second gap, folks. 10-second gaps, and Antonelli's still pulling away. Still purple in the middle sector. Wow. Leclerc just takes that away from him by 3 milliseconds there. But Antonelli has got some very, very nice pace, and again, purple in the final sector. 11 seconds. Wow. Hadjar over the radio. A lot of swearing there over the radio from Isaac Hadjar. It is what it is. Okay, well, yes, Kimi will lap Bottas. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a few laps now, and he'll catch up to Bottas rather quickly. And another purple first sector. Oh my goodness me. Kimi is built different, already beating George, and he's like 7 years younger. Yeah, I mean, look, Kimi is literally, is his second year in Formula One, right? George has been in Formula One since 2019, so this is his 7th year in Formula One. And, well, Kimi Antonelli, here he is, 2 years in Formula One, 2 years in the Mercedes team as well, so a bit more pressure, of course, compared to George's start of his career when George was at Williams, but he's come here, he's hit the ground running, he's beat his teammate, and in a World Championship winning car, he is, putting a lot of pressure on his teammate now. Russell will overtake Leclerc, question mark. I don't know. Leclerc's still, look at this. Leclerc's still going purple in the middle sector, right? So he's still got some sort of pace. And I think that's why Russell's having a pretty tough time in getting past him. Russell did get past Hamilton. I don't know when I missed that. But Hamilton lost out to Russell there. So he's in the Ferrari sandwich, but this time the orders are reversed. So previously it was Hamilton in front and then Leclerc, but now it's Leclerc in front and Hamilton behind. Yeah, the middle sector is pretty tricky, right? You've got Degner 1-2, the hairpin, and Spoon. So they're all relatively tricky corners. You need a decent amount of grip to go through them quickly. So yeah, when Leclerc is going purple through there, he's still got tyre life left in his tyres, and he's still got... he should still have the ability to hold off George Russell, but let's wait and see. 9 laps left of this race. That's about, what, 50 kilometres or something like that? Kimi is locked in. I mean, look at that. Gap up to 12 seconds now. He's catching up Bottas at a rate of knots. Bottas is going to get a blue flag soon enough. Hamilton over the radio. The car doesn't want to turn. Not too happy there with the... not too happy with the performance there is Hamilton, and Norris might be catching up rather quickly to him. And Antonelli's been told to be careful in the pit lane. Wait, what? Be careful in the... probably means on the pit lane exit or something. But he gets ahead of Valtteri Bottas there as his first form of traffic. And wait, when did the safety car come in? So within 20 laps, because the safety car came in with 27 laps left to go. So within 20 laps, Antonelli has lapped Valtteri Bottas. 20 laps, that is mental. Norris is saying that Hamilton needs to give him the position. I don't really buy that. But we'll see. The drivers always love to complain about these sort of stuff. Look at that. Lawson's GPS broken again, back down to 20th position. But yeah, he will move up into 9th, I think it is. Yeah. Hamilton for turn number 16 for leaving the track and gaining an advantage at the chicane. He has got his lap time deleted for that one, and the incident has been noted. We'll see if there's an investigation into it. All right. So, yeah, Russell within 7 tenths, of Leclerc, and Leclerc's doing a pretty solid job there. 7 laps remain, and he's holding on. And Piastri there, 2nd position for him. Of course, he hasn't taken part in Australia or in China, so things are going pretty well for him. As long as his car makes it to the end of the race, as long as that happens, and hopefully I haven't just jinxed that. There are 13 laps remaining. 13 seconds is the gap, between Antonelli. Actually, folks, this is my... Yeah, what do you think? Where do you think the gap is going to be at the end of the race? Is Antonelli going to be 15 seconds ahead, 17 seconds ahead? We've got 7 laps after this race. On the previous lap, Antonelli was about half a second up. Yeah, half a second up on Piastri. So, are we going to have Antonelli finish 15 seconds in the lead of this race? 20, 16, who knows, yeah. The current driver of the day split. 23% of people say Oscar Piastri, 18 say Antonelli, 12 say Leclerc. So a lot of people voting for Oscar Piastri. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, Max is still struggling to overtake Pierre Gasly. 7 tenths is the gap, and he's stuck behind Gasly there. Why did Albon pit? Probably because he wore out his tyres a little bit too much. I don't know. I don't think he was on for any points either way. So, yeah. Bottas driver of the day, clearly. I'm also a bit surprised. Why is there such a big gap between Perez and Bottas? Oh, okay. Bottas was lapped before the safety car and had to go around. Okay, yeah. That's the reason why there's such a big gap between Perez and Bottas. Because their lap times aren't that far apart. No further investigation for Lewis Hamilton for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So yeah, Norris was just complaining over the radio for no reason, and Hamilton re-overtakes Lando Norris again in towards turn number 1. Nicely done there from Lewis, and Norris isn't getting past any time soon. And yeah, Antonelli has just now increased into 132s. Piastri also does a 130. Oh no, sorry. Antonelli is now in the 133s, and Piastri is also just about there in terms of the lap time. So only on the previous lap has Piastri and Leclerc both gone quicker than Antonelli. For every other lap before that, Antonelli was gaining. And yeah, we just get these sort of... Norris will overtake Hamilton into the chicane. Hamilton will re-overtake him in towards turn number 1. Brilliant. And then the F1 account is then going to post on Instagram or Twitter, oh, look, we had 200 overtakes in Suzuka, whereas last year we only had 100 overtakes or something. And yeah. Max to Hadjar, the gap is 21 seconds. It is. And that's after the safety car, right? So they were all equalised. So even the gap after only half the race is 21 seconds between Max and Hadjar. I don't know why Albon pitted twice for softs. I think Albon might just retire. Or is he going to come out? I'm not sure. Understood. We cycle through it. We go back to baseline and finish. Oh, they're genuinely just doing testing here for Alex Albon. So more testing being completed for the Williams team. And so, you know, we had FP1, we had FP2, FP3, and now we're back at it with FP4 and FP5 here in the race. Okay. Here we go then. Yeah, Russell is gaining on Charles Leclerc, but you know he's been gaining on Charles Leclerc for the best part of 20 laps now, and that doesn't mean anything's going to actually happen. But Leclerc's there on the podium, and Piastri also is right now. I've got 5 laps left. 5 laps left. And Antonelli is another fastest lap of the race. And back into the 1 minute 32s for Kimi Antonelli. I may have overslept a little bit. Did I miss any action? Well, I think chat can answer that question. If you've overslept and you've just woken up now, have you missed a huge amount of action here in the Japanese Grand Prix? Yes or no? I don't know. I think that I think you missed a little bit of action, but not a crazy amount of overtaking or anything like that. You know, we didn't have as good battles as we were having in China with the 2 Ferraris. Not so much, really. You've missed a little bit, right? We've had the safety car restart. We've had Leclerc and Russell overtaking a little bit. And Russell essentially trying to make progress up the field after not having the greatest race start, but nothing wild, really. Okay. Let's see what else is going to go on here. Are Leclerc and Russell going to catch up to Alonso in time? Let's see. Also, is Verstappen going to be able to overtake Pierre Gasly with the help of Bottas? Is Bottas, as in the form of traffic, going to hold up Gasly just enough for Verstappen to get a move in? We'll have to wait and see. But Russell overtakes Charles Leclerc in towards the chicane, and are we just about to get another Mario Kart maneuver? This is what we are waiting to see. Norris also overtakes Hamilton, so 2 Ferrari cars getting overtaken at the same corner at the same time. And here comes Charles Leclerc with an extra 20 kilometers per hour down the straight. He says thank you very much, and he goes back up into P3. Is the exact same thing going to happen with Lewis Hamilton? Yes, it is. I mean, oh my god. Yeah, so the 2 Ferraris back into P3 and P5, and we've just had the classic 2025 maneuver, and yeah, no comment, no further comment, folks, no further comment. Antonelli is 14 seconds in the lead of this race. Alonso causing traffic for Piastri. Yeah, a little bit, but I think Alonso's just got out of the way now. So, and Piastri is also 2.2 seconds clear. So, Okay. We have got 3 laps remaining of this race, and well, Kimi Antonelli is about to come across the line, and he's about to make that 2 laps remaining of this race. Wait, they've just said that Albon reset the aerodynamics. What's going on with Albon? Yeah, he's now 2 laps down. So I don't know what they're doing at Williams, but they are just doing more and more. Norris has just re-overtaken Hamilton down the chicane, and is he gonna get re-overtaken again? Let's see. And Hamilton going 15 kilometers per hour quicker, and actually Norris pulls off the overtake this time. So nicely done there for Norris. He has not been mushroomed, and he actually keeps P5. Very nice, very nice. Yeah, it is. It's definitely FP4 for Williams, because yeah, he's now 2 laps down, and he's done some stints on some soft tyres, some stints on medium tyres. What are the 3 columns under the track screen? The 3 columns are the fastest who is fastest in each sector. So Antonelli is fastest in sector 1, Russell is fastest in sector 3, Hamilton is 3rd fastest in sector 3. So that's what it is. Information about the quickest sector times. When is the Alonso Train merch coming? Well, I've got a month to try and make some merch. So as long as I make solid progress on my my university dissertation, then I should also have some time to make some merch. But the final lap of the race is upon us. Kimi Antonelli is making his way around turn number 1 for the final time, heading his way through the S's, and what a nice race this has been for him. He got quite lucky with the safety car, right? He's stuck on pole position. Incredible lap yesterday for pole, and then had a bad race start, which he also had in Australia, and he also had in the China sprint race, and he also had in the Chinese Grand Prix race. So he's got to do something about that race start, but his qualifying is all right, and he lost quite a few positions off the race start. Then the safety car came out at quite a nice time for him, really. Came out for a nice time for Antonelli, and also a nice time for Hamilton, but clearly some drivers have been able to capitalise off it, and the other drivers not so much. May that be down to skill, may that be down to the car, I'll let you guys decide. But Antonelli now makes his way through Spoon Curve for the final occasion, and he is now heading towards 130R for the last time, which I think they should rename 130R to 130 Recharge, because that's really what the drivers are doing through there. And he makes his way to the chicane. He has got back-to-back pole positions, and Kimi Raikkonen comes across the line to back-to-back wins here in Japan. Very nice drive from Antonelli, and that is another race win under his belt for the Italian youngster. Brilliant drive, and Oscar Piastri holds on to P2. Nice job there from Oscar Piastri. We've got Charles Leclerc. Is he going to hold on to P3? Yes, he is. George Russell P4, Lando Norris P5, Bish Bash Bosch, and Hamilton comes home in P6, Gasly in P7, and Verstappen in 8th, 1/10 back from Gasly. Can he get the overtake done towards the start-finish line? No, he can't. There we go. That is... Oh, did I say Kimi Raikkonen? Oh, apologies there, folks. Apologies. I mean, yeah, I think I've definitely said Raikkonen before on a few occasions. But there we go. There we go. Kimi Antonelli, and Kimi Raikkonen both on the podium, obviously. And to finish out the top 10, we got Lawson in 9th and Ocon in 10th. All right, brilliant. Piastri robbed, maybe. I mean, but that's racing, right? Sometimes the safety car is in your favour, sometimes it's not. Let's get the championship standings up on the screen. Here you go, folks. These are the championship standings. You can have a look there. But that's all from me, folks. So it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a bit of a post-race debrief on Twitch. So it's I'm not going to do it on YouTube because the YouTube algorithm doesn't particularly like it, but I will be doing a post-race debrief on Twitch. So if you guys are interested in watching that, then I'm going to drop a link to the Twitch channel, and you guys can tune in there to listen to the post-race debrief. But I'm going to end the stream now on YouTube, and it will take you over to the Miami sprint race. If you guys just hit the like button and the reminder button on the Miami sprint race, that will do absolute wonders for the channel. And yeah, I hope to see you around for the Miami sprint. And if you guys do want to watch you know, a little bit of a post-race debrief, a little bit of a yap or whatever, then I will be I'll be continuing on Twitch. So Kimi Antonelli first in the points, 72 points for him. Russell with 63, Leclerc in third, Hamilton fourth, Norris fifth, Piastri sixth, and those are the championship standings. And yeah, so that is that's that. So thank you very much for tuning in, folks. I will see you all in nearly a month now for the Miami Grand Prix, which is a bit long, but you know, it is what it is. And I shall see you guys very, very soon. So there's a Twitch channel in the description. There's also in the chat if you guys are interested. But yeah, see you guys later on YouTube, and bye-bye.